Are you a dungeon master? Do you want to be a dungeon master? Do you have blue face paint on your face? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you're just like me. Not only do you enjoy smashing players in the face with your axe every time they metagame, but you're also a busy person, and while prepping for a D&D game, well, sometimes that's hard. And as much as you'd like to force one of your players to run D&D for a change, well, they all suck, so it's pretty much up to you to be the forever dungeon master. And that's exactly why I get out my crayons every month and write a new issue of Lair magazine. Well, I mean, it's not just me, I have a team of people too. We all get out our crayons and write it, but yeah. Anyway, every issue of Lair magazine contains 5th edition Dungeon Master resources to help you reduce your prep time while still running amazing games for your lazy, good-for-nothing players. Every issue of Lair magazine contains 2 to 3 adventures complete with maps for online play. You know, we also sprinkle in other stuff like puzzles and traps, which, let's be honest, both suck to have to make yourself. So, I mean, wouldn't you rather just become a DM Lair patron and pay me to write them for you? I mean, you know, my team and I, with our crayons. Now, if you love your wonderful players as much as I do, consider helping me to meet my sales quota by becoming a DM Lair patron today at the link below. You'll get a new issue of Lair magazine every month and other cool stuff like map packs and bonus adventures. Okay, that's it. Please become a DM Lair patron now or I will find you.
All right, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. Today I'm gonna have on here Will from D&D Shorts. You can't see him now, but he's hiding over here in my corner. He's gonna come out of that door behind me. So he's gonna be with us here. We're gonna talk about OGL crap. We'll talk about we're gonna speculate wildly about Critical Role's new game system that I am confident they're gonna come out with. MCDM system, we'll talk about maybe Black Flag. We'll answer your questions. This is gonna be tons of fun. This dude has a massive YouTube channel, does lots of cool videos, and he was very prolific in the whole OGL debacle that was out there. So I'm super excited to have him on here. Really cool guy. I do have a whole bunch of super sleazy plugs to get through before we do that, as we always do, so we're gonna hit that. First thing, we are doing a giveaway, so if you want to get a free RPG book, you can get in on that. There should be a link in the chat where you can sign up for that, 100% free. We will draw the winner to the giveaway at the end of the stream. We're also raising money for a charity. There's a link down in the chat for that as well, if you'd like to help us raise money for these folks. Will's got me all nervous. I'm drawing a blank on our charity. Who's our charity? Oh man, this is really bad. People and moderators know who our charity is. Who is it? Ah, yes, One More Child. Thank you. I just drew a blank on that. One More Child, basically, they do a whole bunch of awesome things to support foster children, children that need adoption. They help with trafficking victims as well. They're doing lots of amazing things, so we're trying to raise money for them. All tips will go toward One More Child. If you would like to contribute, there's a link in the chat where you can do that. And then, now we are going to do our patron shout outs. All these wonderful people on screen that's cycling through now help support everything that we do on the channel. We have 100% free Game Master resources over on the dmlair.com that you can use in your games. My cat Squeaky is joining me. Obviously, we have the free videos, the free live streams to help answer your Game Master questions. And then we have the premium content as well, Lair Magazine, that our patrons get every month as well. So I'm very deeply appreciative to all these folks here for their support and helping to keep the lights on around here. I have an entire team of people to help create the content because one person cannot do it all by himself. All right, and then we're going to transition to the red names. Everybody that you see right here gives me a whole bunch more money, so they get their names read out loud on the stream. So here we go. This is usually fun because I mispronounce half of these. Will is laughing right now at me. It's okay, Will. We're gonna laugh at you later. Just wait. All right, here we go. 5e Magic Shop. Adam B, Adrian W, Alex S, Alexis S, Amanda W, Ambers, Angelique K, Anthony E, Art Soccer, Arutha, Ashley, Barban, Benjamin P, Brandon A, Carl C, Chedef, Chad K, Chris C, Christian V, Christine B, Christopher G, Clay W, Coinslot, Colin W, Connor D, Contrary Gravy, Daniel S, Danny T, Dap, Dark Cloud, Daz What Up, David S, Derek E, Doug, Duty K, Dungeon of Terra, Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, Mfravo, Andorian 72, Eric B, Erno T, Flux Forest Brew, Francisco D, Gabriel T, Game On, Gene A, Goliath Cleric, Gravy Chore, and Greg P, Gregory H, Guapo, Harlan S, Helltongue, HLD, Iron Cascade, It's Beoban, Izzy T, Jace F, Jackie Pizza, Jake L, Jacob K, Jelenko, James L, James N, Jan F, Jeff F, Jessica J, Jim P, JM, Joan P, Joe E, Joannis, John A, John C, John H, John P, John R, John the Wicked, Jonathan V, Johnny T, Joseph H, Josh M, Josh S, Joseph W, Joshua W, Justin N, K, Keith W, Curry Claw, Kirby, Kyle M, Lettermage, Lionheart, Linda, Lord Pablo, Matlock, Magna, Molten M, Matthew J, Matthew C, Meepo, Mike S, Mirostal, Mitchell, M20s, Mr. Owl, Mr. Lincoln, Nerd with Glasses, Nessie, Old Man Mage, O&D, Paul S, Penguin Butt, Pathnick, Porkchop Bacon, Psycho John, The Puppet Master, Ramus, Randy B, Rebar, Renner C, Robert J, Robin B, Russell J, LQWT, Ryan, R Sakura, Sam B, Sean, Scott V, Sean S, Shadow 1317, Shane L, Sheila A, Sim Fan, Sir Evangelo, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Stephen F, J, Stephen Q, Stephen T, Steve L. So I'm just gonna throw out a whole bunch of letters. Eventually I'll get one of them right. Sturm, Tactic Tokens, Taryn, Terry S, Terry V, The Three Quarters Hospital, The Old DM, The New Bad Omri, Tiago P, Thomas F, Tim B, Timothy T, TK, TM Tom, Travels the Laws, Trinity Series, Tyler R, Unalloyed, Dying Lorlock, Balagor, Vladimir S, Walt O, Wesley K, William C, XX Redrum, Yul R, Zachary J, Zeromon, Zombie Trami. Woo! Alright, and here, now, I present to you Will from DnD Shorts. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Hey, bro. It's so nice to be here. Hey, chat. It's great. Yeah, thanks so much, man. This is going to be hype.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be doing it for one more child as well.
Yeah.
Great cause.
Cool. Thank you, dude. Yeah, our goal is to get $500 for them. And so that's what we got to get to.
$500. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What are we up to so far?
We got $85 right now. We just got a little bit more to go.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need to get some rewards going already. Okay.
My cat is jealous, Will. I just want you to know. Like, he's just like, I don't like that you're talking to somebody else. So he's all up in our business right now. So, how?
Yeah, my dog is downstairs. She's chilling. She might come up later though. She usually makes herself known.
What kind of dog you got?
She's a rescue from Romania, so we don't know what she is. We know she's part corgi though. She looks like a corgi, but
okay.
she's got some other dogs have snuck in.
Yeah.
She's a runt, kind of like me. It's we got a symbiotic relationship.
Okay, cool. That's awesome, dude.
She's amazing.
Yeah. You said she's from Romania. How did you get a dog from Romania?
I just saw your cat's tail, and in my head it looked like an ostrich next to you. It literally, like, for a second I looked away, I looked back, and I thought you got like a prop ostrich, like leaning down.
The ostrich is over in the other room.
At the top.
Yeah.
It looks like a head of a carnivorous bird.
Yeah.
Sorry. That actually blew my mind. Okay. She's from it's like a charity. It's big in the UK. The UK has like a reputation of being like a nation that's ridiculous for like dogs in particular. It's like part of the national. We adopt and take really good care of it. Like, it's an English thing. I think it's very much an American thing too, but in Europe especially, like we just sweep them up. You know, we love them over here.
Okay, cool. So there's some program that gets rescue dogs from different countries then?
Yeah, literally street dogs from other countries. They will send them to the UK because it's the place that they will get adopted and taken care of. That's how common it is in the UK for people to have and take care of dogs. It's really cool. I'll try to find some. I might be able to find you a picture of what she looks like.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If she doesn't come around.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, we take in all of the cats that we have are rescues. We just find them on the street. Usually it's a mom cat who's pregnant that comes up to us, needs help. We start feeding her, and then she has babies, and we're like, well, now we have more cats. Yeah. So that's usually how it happens to us.
Just going around rescuing animals, man. It's what you got to do here.
Yeah.
I dropped you a Discord link. She kind of looks like this.
All right.
And I don't know if you can put it up on stream so people can see.
Probably.
She looks like that, but a bit more fluffy.
Oh, nice. Let's open in browser. Get this over here. Yeah, I can probably...
I can't see the chat, but I'm guessing you're on top of...
Yeah. Whoops. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta resize this. I'm not.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
I'm trying to resize it though. So
that angle on her is very good because that's exactly how she looks when she's like peering over a table when you've got food. That's exactly what it looks like. You just get the top half of her head and her big floppy ears. Yeah,
dude. My dog always, every time I come down to eat in the basement, she's like down here begging for food. That's all dogs do. Is like they smell food and they beg for it. It's like they live for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I respect it. I'm the same. Like I'm a total food thief. Stealing like you got some chicken nuggets over there. I mean, I'm actually vegetarian, but I'll still ask for it.
My wife yells at me that I eat too much meat. She's like, "Look, you can't eat that much meat. It's not good for you. You have to eat less." And I'm just like, "But it tastes good, man." I like beans though. I eat tons of beans too.
What, like baked beans?
Not baked beans, because baked beans have so much sugar and crap in them. We literally just get dry beans and then we boil them with onion and garlic in them, a little bit of salt, and it's just delicious. And I just eat beans.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's most of the stuff that we eat in our house is made from scratch. We don't do almost no prepared it's like everything is from scratch pretty much that we eat. So
that's amazing.
I do agree.
I wish I had the time. I mean, I do have the time, but I'm too lazy.
Yeah.
So I get the crap. I mean, I'll die at 40, but I will have had like an extra hour a day to fuck around on D&D. So that's just the trade I've accepted.
Yeah. I'm over 40. I'm trying not to die now. That's my goal in life.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, that wasn't a... Yeah. You've made it further than I will, for sure.
All right,
people think I'm a lot older than I am, I think, because of the beard.
No, beards make you look older, dude. Like
they make me look so much older. Beard and bald. I shave my head. I'm not actually like bald, but it definitely makes you look way older.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not at the point where I have to shave my head yet. I have like a little
No, dude, you look amazing.
No, but it's thinning. But it's thinning. It's thinning out like right through here at the front.
Oh, shut up, bro. Give me a break. That is not thinning out. Oh,
it's thinning, dude. You have to get your face like really close to it, and then you can see that it's thinning out.
Yeah. Show me your hair.
But I use like special like hair products that like give more volume and crap, so that you can't see it.
They work.
Especially when I do, like today I didn't do a whole lot to it. I just threw some crap in it. But like when I do my like recorded videos that go on my channel, I have like a whole routine where I'm like one product and then you blow dry it and then it's like much volume and then another product. It's just this whole ridiculous routine, you know.
That is an underappreciated element of D&D, not D&D, YouTube content creation altogether. Is that I personally don't do this because the reason why I wear hats all the time is because I can't be bothered to shave. So like the top of my head, like you've got like fluff coming through. But especially my sister's also a content creator, and she has to do like before she even turns on a camera, she has to do like an hour and a half sometimes of prep. It's outrageous how much stuff goes in before you turn on the camera that people don't really think about until you do it.
Dude, I have makeup I put on too. I have like it's not like full makeup.
The barbarian.
That's just face paint. There's like a powder I put on that what it does two things. First of all, it makes me look a little bit younger. It takes away the wrinkles aren't quite as like I don't have it on today, but my normal videos I put it on. But it also reduces the glare from all the lights because when you're recording videos, you have all these lights on you, you know. And so it shines off from your skin. If you put that little powder on, then it makes it so there's less shine and less glare. And so you just look better on camera all around, you know? So I don't do that for these live streams. These live streams, I'm just like, I clean my nose out to make sure I don't have anything hanging out, you know? I'll brush my teeth and then I'll make sure my hair stays up. But that's really it, you know? I'll put on a new shirt. I'll change my shirt out from yesterday's shirt to today's shirt.
Yeah, that's the degree of respect I've yet to cultivate for content creation. My attitude is make it as lazy as I can get away with because it's hard enough work as it is.
It is, dude. Yeah. So what is your least favorite part of content creation?
Okay, so I actually said this the other day on Twitter. If you mean the strictest definition of content creation, I don't think there is a bad part. I think it is the best possible thing any person can do. It is to sit down and make something, anything, a video, a poem, a song, a drawing, even if it sucks, just that process of making stuff is incredible. The bad parts of creating content come when you put expectations on it, right? And you need to get that content in front of people. So my least favorite part of content creation is titles and thumbnails.
Oh gosh.
Because I don't know how to do it.
Nobody knows how to do it, man. We're all
no one knows how. Like you never know. I mean, I know I'm like maybe preaching to the choir here, but you never know what title will work, what thumbnail will work. And I work like 40, 50 hours sometimes per video because the edits are so dense. So that's just how I make content. So I know that I can't blame anyone for that.
Yeah.
But as a consequence, if I put 50 hours into something, and I think it's really good because I like the content I make, then I'm like, I just know that none of it matters if no one sees it, and that is like horrifying. That's like a terrifying thought. So I do the best I can each time, but like my philosophy is make a great product and then just for the love of God find something that people that communicates what it is and that they will click on, because if they never click on it, they never see it, and then all that hard work and all that fun that you try and bring to it, it's just gone forever. So the pressure on thumbnails and the fact that I'm not very good at it, makes it by far the absolute worst part of the job. Like that's the great thing about TikTok. If any creators out there are thinking about TikTok or like getting into the business and they're worried about thumbnail, TikTok doesn't have you can't see the title, and TikTok doesn't have a thumbnail. So if you make a good TikTok video, if the video is good, nothing else matters. It'll do really well. Whereas on YouTube, there are so many incredible creators who make incredible content that they can't break like 20 views, 30 views.
Right.
And the problem is usually because the title and the thumbnail aren't gonna grab someone new.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the bit I hate. What about you? Like, what's your hated vibe?
So I definitely share the same feeling that I am not good at titles and thumbnails. Like, that is the number one thing that I agonize over in trying to figure out a good title, figure out a good thumbnail, and that sort of thing. I agonize over that. It's not the least favorite part for me. Like, I do it and I'm just like, okay, I'll get it done. I don't feel like, it's not undesirable to do it. I'm just not good at it. The part that I dread doing is script writing. I don't like script writing. It is my least favorite part because it takes me probably 3 hours to make a script for a video. And my videos are usually around 10, maybe 15 minutes long. And it takes me about 3 hours because sometimes before I write a script, my first part is trying to think about what the title might be. And I'll brainstorm titles. I use ChatGPT to help me brainstorm titles as well.
Wow, you AI titles? That's genius. I never even thought about that.
Well, first of all, I have to pay them $20 a month because their server's so overwhelmed that if you don't pay to get access to it, you never can get into it. It's just always their servers are full.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
okay.
What I have to say about that is that it's only good for giving you ideas. It can't write the titles for you. Most of the titles that it comes up with are like pretty crappy, but it'll have little words in there that, oh, I like that word. How can I use that word? Or I like that. How can I use that? So it'll kind of what ChatGPT does is it's kind of like the underpaid intern that goes out and does a bunch of research for you and then gives you a bunch of ideas, but it takes a person with experience to look at them critically and think about how you're actually going to do it. So it's like you can outsource like research basically to it, but you still need a person with a brain that can actually pick something that might possibly work. I asked it to brainstorm. What I'll do is I'll tell it what my video is about. Then I ask it to give me a bunch of titles, and it'll give me a bunch of titles. ChatGPT loves to give you titles with colons in them. They always have like a phrase, colon, and then a phrase. Everything.
Right.
And I was fighting with it one day, and I said, suggest for me titles that don't have colons in them. And then it gave me 10 titles with colons. And I was like, do you know what a colon is? Do you know what a colon is? And then it's like, yes, great. Now give me titles without colons. And it gave me more titles with colons in it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
so
this
funny.
thing is just being obstinate now. It's like doing this on purpose. So anyway, but I don't like doing that. But script writing is the crappy part because it just
That's interesting.
It takes me so
I really
long.
like that process,
really?
to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because I like script writing because it's an exercise in, for me, it's an exercise in making it as concise as possible. Like that was kind of my rule. Before I did like this type of YouTube, I wrote and edited videos for like a couple of like fairly large media companies. What Culture was the biggest one. And a lot of the editors at the office were like always pushing writers to make like stretch stuff out so they can spread it over more pages and get more ad revenue. And I always thought that was bad. Like my idea was always make stuff as quick as you can. So if you can get a video that could be half an hour, if you can make that video fit in 3 minutes, it's going to be a better video. In my like that's my kind of like idea. So I kind of always, I really like having getting ideas down and then going in with a scalpel and taking out every word that I can. I don't know. I find that process very like, what's the word? Kind of cathartic or
that's what I was thinking.
meditative in a way. You know, it's just a good time. Just cutting it down like that. It feels like cleaning. You know, when you're just getting, you know, you get to really dig deep and scrub stuff out. I find that very fun.
Yeah, I have a thought on that. Let me play a sleazy plug really quick, and then I'll have you a thought.
Hi, Barbarian here. Did you see my last sleazy plug? You know, the one where I talked about Lair magazine and tried to convince you to become a DM Lair patron? Yeah, well, I'm not gonna do all that work over again. So could you just go rewatch that plug and then, you know, become a DM Lair patron at the link below? Please, you know, just don't make me threaten you with my axe. My doctor tells me I gotta, you know, keep my blood pressure under control. Thank you.
Okay, so in the quest for improving the YouTube channel, you try lots of different things. You try different thumbnails, different titles, you try different things in your videos and all this kind of stuff. So one thing that I had noticed, there's this one channel in our niche that usually makes videos that are between 20 and 40 minutes long, and they usually get pretty good views. They also, the topics of their videos are also the types of topics that people are likely to click on, like top 5 cantrips. Everybody's gonna watch that, you know. So, but I noticed that they always have their videos between 20 and 40 minutes long. They're long videos. And so I was like, I should try making a bunch of long videos to see if it makes a difference. And so for a while, I think it was a month or two or something, I was intentionally trying to make long videos. And the way that I make a long video is I don't script it out word for word. I just have bullet points. Because if I only have bullet points, I just talk and I go.
You kind of ramble. Ramble along.
Yeah. And so I tried that for a while. I don't think it made a big difference having them longer. And so then I went back to the scripting word for word, because for me, I read from a teleprompter when I have everything word for word scripted, you know, and it makes my filming day a lot easier when I can just read from my teleprompter and deliver my lines and not have to actually think, you know, because like when I'm delivering for a video, I'm thinking more about, I'm thinking less about what I'm actually saying, and I'm thinking more about how I'm delivering it, my body language, my facial expressions and stuff like that. I think a lot about that. So if I also have to think about what
you have to remember the line, it's probably even more. Yeah, that makes total sense, man. I do it. I have no teleprompter set up. I have a light ring, my phone, and then I read off my like work phone. I just read the line. Okay, I'm going to say that line. I put the phone down. I say the line. Then I do the next line, and then I cut it all together. Which I think probably is to the detriment of the video. Honestly, like I know Ginny D. I chatted with Ginny, and she I know she reads off a teleprompter, and her videos look like fantastic and professional, and so do yours. So I always worried that if I got a teleprompter, people could tell that I was reading, but clearly you can't, because I never knew you read off a teleprompter. I never knew Ginny read off.
No, there are some tricks. There are some tricks to make that people can't tell you're reading off a teleprompter. If you simply have like you're sitting there, right, and you don't have any facial movement expressions or anything, people will see your eyes going back and forth. And so what I do is I will intentionally look off to the side, come back, get my next part, and make these expressions and stuff. I'll make sure, that's why I'm a little animated when I'm an animated person and I talk with my hands a lot. But one of the reasons I intentionally do that too is that when my eyes are bouncing on my head and all this kind of stuff, you can't see my eyes following.
Yeah, that's true. It does kind of conceal it. Makes total sense.
So it's very intentional to try to make it so you can't see that you're reading it, you know.
Yeah, well, it works. That's a wonderful. I mean, I'll definitely explore it. I mean, like my process is very like ad hoc, kind of like I try something. I you know, there's no there's no thought process in it. You know,
Yeah.
I've never really considered the most optimal way. It's just the way I do it, so I do it that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I used to film my when I first started. I did it a similar way. I would have my bullet points or my script. I would look at a line, and then I would repeat it to the camera. And what I found myself doing is I would screw it up and have to say it again, or I'd be like, I'd have to memorize it, read it, memorize.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'd have to do it. And I don't use a lot of B-roll. In the early days, I didn't use a lot of B-roll at all, which you do a lot of. So it makes it easy to cut that in to make it so you're not just having all these jump cuts.
Usually
you know?
you like cut into a slightly closer shot if you're talking. And that kind of disguises cuts really well, or you bring in footage.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's a great example of that's how content is informed. So if you kind of go back to the like, I don't know what channel you meant, but it kind of made me think of the Dungeon Dudes, who are one of my favorite and like titans of the industry. And they have these very long videos. Same with Matt Colville, where they just they kind of sit and talk, and it's almost like you're like around a table with friends. And obviously in real life, there's not like screens flying in and stuff popping up. And I think the reason that works so well is because it does feel like a real conversation, like we're having now.
Yeah.
Whereas my content could never be that because of how I filmed it. Otherwise, there'd be a cut every 3 seconds or 5 seconds, which is crazy. So as a result, you get these insane videos that are at the time they weren't like anything else on D&D. I mean, for good reason. Honestly, they're odd. I know my content is very strange, and I think partly it's because of how it's filmed is why it's strange. So I think it's nice that there's a mix though of content like that is more like the Matt Colville Dungeon Dudes, where you kind of sit down. It's almost like you're attending a lesson, and these are like your like gurus, and they're just telling you all about the game. You can sit there and you can almost imagine someone taking notes, and you really feel like you have that relationship. And I love. I've never met Matt Colville, but I love the Dungeon Dudes. I've chatted to them a few times, and they are nicer people you could not meet.
Yeah.
Incredibly supportive and kind. And
that's cool.
And I think that's like it's definitely interesting. People think that creators like videos turn out the way they are because of conscious decisions, but often the way someone's content turns up is actually inevitable based on how they record it and their process. So it's not actually a conscious decision to have like loads of cuts to footage and stuff. It's just that I had to because I can't afford a teleprompter. So we're like throwing it on the thing.
So do you record off your phone your videos?
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, this is my laptop camera now, but my phone camera is
You can
an iPhone 6 or something.
You can get a free teleprompter app on your phone, man. Free.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
And then you have your light ring, you have your phone, and then it's scrolling. It's scrolling, and you're reading it, and the little camera's there, and you got it. It's free.
I've got to check it out.
The trick is what I have found though. The teleprompter that I use is on my iPad, which goes on my normal DSLR camera and stuff. But my teleprompter software keys off my voice. It can hear me talking and understand me, so that it scrolls at the pace that I'm talking. And so I'm never rushed.
Wild! Shut up! They can do that?
Well, yeah, the
My
one I
God,
have.
dude.
So I'm never rushed. I don't have to.
You don't have to.
I can pause.
You don't have to catch up.
You know what I mean? Now sometimes it miskeys and jumps all over the place, and then I'm like fighting with it. And those are the bloopers. But like now the teleprompter I have for my phone, I found it in 2 seconds for really quick. It scrolls at a speed that I don't like. I don't like the speed scrolling where it just goes at a normal speed, because then you got to get it just right, and then you got to keep up with it. And so,
if you pause or you stop for a drink.
Yeah, if you can find one that keys off, that can listen to your voice, that's the way to go.
I'll check it out. I mean, like I say, my YouTube strategy is awful. Like, it doesn't exist. I just make content that at the time I feel like that's a cool idea. Whereas I think I miss huge opportunities and growth by just not trying to make it better. Like I need to like pay more attention and learn.
Dude,
and I think that's a great way to start.
Dude, you say that, but like you get great views on your videos, man. And you have good thumbnails and titles too. So you say all these things that are kind of a little bit like slightly disparaging, but dude, you're doing well, man.
I don't know. I can go on my channel. I mean, I think look, to be honest, I think my thumbnails have got better recently. I'm looking at them now, but it's more like I don't know it's good because my whole philosophy, basically, if it's interesting, I don't know, just tell me to shut up if it's not. But my whole idea was that I was making, my job was content creation already, right? I'm a voiceover artist. I was that before.
Okay.
And my whole idea was, I've made some documentaries and stuff I've done. They're on YouTube. They've got like 7-8 million views.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're massive.
Cool.
My idea was like, this is a fun job, but I want to make stuff that I personally would watch.
Yeah.
And if I'm making like true crime documentaries, I mean, I understand that like, and it is a really good true crime channel that I work with, and they're very respectful. It's not, I don't feel like it's a predatory one.
Yeah.
But it's not something that personally that I would have watched in my free time.
Right.
So I kind of let guide me was, would I click on this thumbnail if I saw it, and would I watch this video? Would I keep watching it? And as a result, I think that, I guess the fact that the videos are like do okay is a sign that I'm clearly like quite typical of the average D&D player, because like, I'm making content that I would watch, and I guess other people would watch it too for that reason. So I think that's all there is to it. I mean, people act like YouTube is. I mean, you must see this all the time as well. Like the truth about YouTube is, it doesn't matter how the video needs to be sort of good, but I know for a fact if I make a video about D&D races, it will do better than if I make a video about wizard subclasses, because every character needs to have a race, right?
Yep.
In character creation, but only wizards are going to be interested in wizard subclasses.
Yep.
So the biggest channels tend to be the most broad.
Yep.
And the same with videos. If you make like like XP level 3 is probably the biggest YouTuber in D&D right now,
it's comedy.
Like outside of critical
comedy
role.
sketches. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It appeals to everybody.
Actually, and one-shot questions as well.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, and animate like they're obviously insanely talented.
Yeah.
And hilarious. And wonderful people too.
Yeah.
But I think those kind of, and then the story time videos as well, like Dingo Doodles and Puffin Forest.
Yep.
And Blaine Simple, they always do incredibly well, because you don't need to know anything about D&D to watch and enjoy those.
Right.
You can imagine like my mom really likes I can't remember the guy's name. There's a guy who does they're like fantasy shorts. I'll be able to find his name right now.
Okay.
Comedy. He's like one of the biggest. Oh man, I'll find it later. But my mom really likes, like, she doesn't know anything on D&D.
Yeah. But she likes watching them anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, she's watching them anyway because they're funny, and you don't need to get D&D. So those videos will always do better, and then the videos that will do the least well are always the ones that are like the most niche. But I think that looking at YouTube as like a views, more views equals better is really unhealthy, because all that the amount of views tells you is how many people are interested in that topic. But that doesn't mean that if I make a video and it only gets like 5,000 views, but if every one of those 5,000 views got something really important from that video, and it was really good advice for those people, that's I still believe that's really healthy for the community, and I still think that's a really important thing on the channel. Like, not every video has to be this like Titanic, unstoppable, 2 million like whatever short. You know,
that's a really good point and super interesting, and it's actually encouraging to me, because this is literally the thing that every video that I make, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a video on how a dungeon master can incorporate character backstories into their games if they're running a module. Super niche. It's already game masters, and then it's if you're running a module, and then it's how to incorporate backstories. It's super niche, and I'm just like, I know that it's not going to appeal to tons of people, but at the same time, like, this is my struggle every time. I'm just like, I know that it's not super appealing, but there are people that want this information, that will be benefited by this information, so I'm going to make this video, and we're going to help game masters learn this stuff, because one of the things
they need to.
Yeah, because if you look at the number of information channels and resources out there that specifically focus on helping game masters and giving them actionable, practical information that they can actually do in their games, it's limited. Now they're out there, but they're not that many of them. You know what I mean? And so I think
Yes, exactly. I think you and Matt Colville are like the big two that I can think of offhand. I know like other people cover it. Ginny D covers it sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob World Builder does some too.
He does a little bit.
Some,
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I think he does a lot of world building stuff. Maybe
yeah, he does.
It's
in the name.
I think
yeah.
so. Yeah. But yeah, so like one of the things that I had to keep bringing myself back to is like, Luke, you're not in this to get tons of views. You're in this to help people. You're in this to help game masters. You want to deliver value. You want to help them improve their games, give them information, you know, and stuff like that. And so that's always something, because I'll have a video that goes out and, you know, it gets, let's say that it gets 20,000 views in like a couple days. You know, that's pretty good for me. But then I'll pop over.
I mean, 20,000 is a huge number of people. Like,
yeah, it is.
But
I'll pop over to your channel. I'll be like, well, he got 300,000. I'll go to Ginny D's that she got 200,000. And so it's like what you said about comparing yourself to views is very important, because like people will like fixate on it, and it isn't necessarily a measure of their worth and value.
Yeah, exactly. This is a real problem with YouTube in terms of content creation. That luckily I kind of bypassed this in a way when I started, because I'd already been on YouTube for like 3 years and I'd been on big channels. So I kind of see how it works. And to understand this, to reinforce that message in yourself, all you need to do is look at the most popular YouTubers on the site, right? Like there are like, not to like crap on anyone, making like, everyone's popular for a reason, whether you like their content or not. But there are some like pretty damaging ideas, like, and pretty horrible like kind of people, like, you know, like Logan Pauly kind of like exploitative, let's film some corpses, let's abuse some pigs kind of shit. And but they get you know 100 times, maybe 1,000 times more views than like the Ginny D, even Critical Role will ever get. And that does, but like, so if views were everything, then you'd be like, well, Logan Paul is 100 times the man I live.
That's true.
When I honestly, you know, I don't think that's true. I think that you can contribute something of real value. And I think the success and size of Lair magazine is the proof in the pudding that your content has huge value. Because, you know, like relative to, you know, if you hit 20,000 people, but it's amazing for them, then they're way more likely to come back for more and support in other areas, like the Kickstarter last December as well. How much did that make in the end? Like on the Champion, like hundreds of thousands, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't December. We launched it in April, I think.
Oh,
last
I'm sorry.
year. No. It's cool, dude. I'm gonna, if you ask me to report on the timing of stuff you do, I'm gonna get it wrong too. It's all good.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No. It was like 250,000. That's up front. But every time I talk about those big numbers, I always want to preface it with, you don't know the back end costs, because there are lots of them. You know, like somebody was telling me about somebody did a Kickstarter. They made $20,000 on it, and they were talking about some of the costs they were paying for like writers on it. And like, I was in my brain, I was doing math, and I'm like, that person went in the red. They didn't make any money on that Kickstarter. They're in the red. They paid out of their pocket for that. You know.
Yeah, so. There's like an illusion on Kickstarter, I think, where there's this there's an expectation where you put like your goal might be like $15,000, because I promote a lot of Kickstarters as well on the channel as my adverts, and they do like 15,000 is their aim. But I'm speaking to them, and they were like, yeah, between you and I, if this makes less, because some of these are big companies, like if this makes less than $500,000, we are in trouble. You know, it's that level of size.
Yeah, because it's because they have to play the Kickstarter game, because you have to put your funding at like 10,000 or 20,000 low, because you need to get it funded quickly, so some people won't support you if you're not funded already. And you also want to be able to put that like funded in 14 minutes on your like little Kickstarter badge,
yeah, of course.
You know. So, and you gotta play the algorithm. The faster you get funded, the more growth you have. The algorithm, Kickstarter will promote you more and stuff. So like, they have to play that game. But yeah, you might not actually break even until you hit 50,000 or something, you know. And then if you might technically be funded, but you might have to cancel your project because you just didn't make
you
enough
literally
money.
can't afford it. Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
gonna do, man?
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember chatting with. I think I can say this. I don't think this is like bad to say because I don't know if you remember Monkey DM's Kickstarter. Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt.
I do. I know Monkey
unbelievable.
DM. I know Monkey DM because I'm in a little Pathfinder game with him right now.
Great! Yeah,
he's a really cool guy, but I'm not familiar with his.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. We chatted like I got in contact with him the first time because I'd seen one of his videos. This was before he was like even like he was really like we're talking like 1,000 subscribers. I literally commented on one of his videos. I was like, dude, you're awesome. Yeah. Let's chat. And like that Kickstarter did like 2.5 million, like something insane.
Dang, I didn't know that.
It was unbelievable.
Wow.
I think it is the biggest D&D Kickstarter ever that is a book, like bigger than anything Matt Colville's.
He beat Colville? Oh,
yeah.
Monkey
he beat
DM.
Colville. yeah, I know, right? And I think,
Jeez.
like, and I was chatting to him about his promotion. I think because he put so much into it in advance. We were chatting and I was like, what's, like, what are you hoping for?
Yeah.
And he said to me, like, between us, I'm hoping for 1 million. Because that was the amount of, I don't know how much money he put into it in advance.
Yeah.
But he booked like 3 adverts off me alone. And like he was going to everyone. So the advertising budget must have run, like if you get 50 channels to promote you, some of them multiple times, the advertising budget's going to be over, just on YouTube, it's going to be over 100K.
It's going to be a lot,
And that's not counting all the Facebook and Instagram. That is the scale that some of these people are working at. And I think the Eldritch Hunt stretch got their goal was probably only like 15,000, So lovely guy.
That's cool.
Monkey DM's a really good if you're interested, really good titles writer.
Really?
I think his shorts titles were the best. And they changed how I did my titles too. Because my titles used to be like something like funny or clever, and it would be like some kind of pun around. I mean, I can't remember what they were now because they're so old. But it would be like, this video is about the setting yourself on fire. So I'm going to call it the fast and the. Oh yeah, there was one that I was like a monk attacking lots, so I called it the fast and the flurries because it's like a flurry of words. Yeah. And it would do like okay views, right? Yeah. But that was probably because at that point people knew who I was, so they'd be able to intuit that I was obviously talking about D&D. But that title means nothing to someone who doesn't know D&D already. Yeah. So what Monkey DM was the master of doing was he'd call something like he'd have a combo like, "Oh, monks can do this," and he'd call it like the hidden ability of monks. And the thing is, even if you don't know anything about monks, you understand what that video is going to be about. Whereas my title would mean nothing to those people. Like, so you like, and he just exploded on the shorts feed and he's incredible. Yeah, a lovely guy. One of those who you just can't say enough nice things about. Really, what a, like total champion of the platform, and his work on the shorts feed along with Steely Sam and a little bit my own as well. I think really opened the shorts feed up. And now there's a lot of D&D creators who there's a space for them now. Like YouTube will recommend D&D content on the shorts feed largely because of the D&D YouTubers who came along and opened it up. I think he was a huge part of that. Yeah,
that's cool because I have literally had some of my shorts do better than my normal videos. And my shorts are just the barbarian saying stupid stuff usually, like nonsensical stupid stuff. And the video will do really well. And I'm just like, well, that short did better than my normal video. Okay. And a short takes
it's wild.
Do you know how little effort I put into my shorts? The script writing is like, 15 minutes. I say something stupid. The filming takes no time. And then my video editor just cranks it out. It probably takes him some time, but like it's 0 effort on my end almost. And like it does better than normal video. So, but yeah, the shorts.
It's wild. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Obviously, they don't pay anything. There's no like ads on the shorts, or they're like next to nothing. I think the CPM is like 0.06 cents per 1,000 views or something.
My theory on shorts was basically you're not doing it to get ad revenue. You're basically doing it to get eyeballs on it because a short might introduce them to your entire channel. They might not even know about you until they find a short.
Yeah, I mean, I started making shorts because I didn't have time to make anything else at all. Like because I had a job, right? I was a voice actor. I was working full time. So my intention was never to earn money. or make a living off it. I was just sharing stuff that I thought would make my friends laugh. But that's definitely how it happened. As it happens, like the shorts did well, and then people recognized my face, presumably, and then they're like, "Oh, he did a long video." So and then and then maybe it's like, "Oh, you watch that," because it's quite different. My longer videos are a lot more, I guess thoughtful. I like all the. No, not to like, I just personally, I make content that I like, so I like all of it. It's kind of like choosing between a child. But the shorts are meant to be funny and cool ideas.
Yeah.
But I could talk about my content all day, like I say, because it is you don't want to bore people to death. But yeah, that's definitely how shorts have changed. In the early days, I think people were trying them just for fun, but these days, it's definitely the case that it gets. Just because it's so much more consumable, people will see a short, they'll be scrolling through, they'll see a short, and then they might check out other stuff, and it does actually send people around. Yeah,
they're super cool. All right, we are going to take a short little bio break right here, and then we'll be back in like about 2 minutes. All right?
Cool, yeah.
Hi, Barbarian here. Are you enjoying this content? Would you like to have me guilt trip you really quick? Because here's the thing. My team and I work really hard to create all this content. The videos, the stupid shorts, the TikTok garbage, these Q&A live streams, the adventure creation live streams, all of this stuff. All of the free Dungeon Master resources on the DMLair.com and Lair magazine, which is just amazing and beautiful. Anyway, here's the problem. My team doesn't work for free, and Mrs. Barbarian always wants me to take her out to eat, like every single day almost. And I mean, I like Olive Garden and Texas Roadhouse, but all of those margaritas get really expensive. And if I don't pay the people on my team, they just kind of stop working. I don't get it. Anyway, here's how you can help me help you. Basically, you can just take a whole bunch of cash, put it into an envelope and mail it. No, wait, hold on. Let me think about that. No, you know what? This is the 21st century. Just give me your credit card number. Okay, forget all of that. My lawyers have advised me to instead request that you become DM Lair patrons at the link below. I mean, it still allows you to send me money, but it's legal and you get cool stuff in return. For instance, every month you'll get a new issue of Lair magazine, which contains tons of Dungeon Master resources like adventures, puzzles, traps, monsters, magic items, and more. You see, I'm not just asking for a handout, which is what a lot of people do with their Patreons. I'm actually going to give you stuff in return. So yeah, just, kind of click that link below and become a DM Lair patron, so I can stop putting my foot in my mouth. Thank you.
Oh. Almost got back in time.
Hi there.
Almost. All right, I gotta get this tea in here. All right.
We're back.
All right, I want to switch this up. We are gonna start taking questions. I want to switch over to talking about OGL crap, because you made some prolific videos. You talked to some insider leak crap and all that, and I was very upset by the whole ordeal and made some videos myself. So I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I kind of still feel like I'm grieving it. I don't want people to think I'm like, like a weeping wreck or anything. I'm a pretty cheerful guy, and I love my job. So it was very difficult to. When the OGL came out, we were right into combat mode. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like we have to fight this thing because I was talking to other creators on the side. Some of them are like. It's easy to think that the influencers with the YouTube channels were the main people affected because we were the loudest voices, right? Because we have. But the people who are really affected are the people with the very small businesses that maybe only a couple of hundred people on Patreon, or they have like a little indie publishing company.
Right.
And I was speaking to some of them, and they were in tears. In that early January time, like they were asked, like, how am I going to keep my house? How am I I'm gonna have to move my kids' schools.
That is screwed up.
What? Oh my god, it was awful. Like the human element cost was awful.
Yeah.
And I think
what was the specific impact? Like from their point of view, how did they feel that what Wizards was doing was going to impact them?
I think the truth is that the original version of the OGL 1.1, that was sent out to creators that was leaked originally, with, you know, a few days. That was what they were going for. It was unsignable. I don't know how you felt upon reading it, but like I looked at it, I was like, I cannot sign this. It is a death sentence.
Right.
It is simply, it can't work. If you sign that, you're signing away your content forever.
You're done, because
you cannot sign it.
Because they
can
could update it. The thing that terrified me or made me the most pissed off is that the clause in there where they can update it whenever they want. So they can tell you that right now they're only going to take a revenue split from people over this amount, but they can update it so that it can keep inching it down, and the next thing you know, the person who's making 50,000 is getting 50% taken. They could edge out everyone, clear out the entire board of competition through that contract, and I'm just like, that's crazy, you know.
It was, you know, and that was the intent. I mean, speaking to employees myself, I mean, they made it very clear that at the executive level, and this is hearsay, right? Like, I'm repeating what they told me.
Right. Yeah.
But at the executive level, there was a lot of like just genuine frustration and entitlement, and that they said that the executives actually were getting pissed off when they saw these big Kickstarters get loads of money, and they genuinely thought, like, this is our game, we should get some of that. And you can kind of see how someone disconnected from the game might think that. They might be like, well, we own Dungeons and Dragons. What does a manager take, right? What does a manager take if someone makes content? Maybe 20%. You know, if you make content, they might take 20%. So we should take 20%. You can understand it, but obviously it's just like a crazy disconnect from how the community actually works.
Yeah, they don't understand the fact that, for instance, when my Kickstarter or your Kickstarter makes whatever it makes, like off from their brand and their stuff, like, we're driving people back to them. We're spreading the game, right? And there are more people playing it, and they're gonna go buy your core books. They're gonna get excited. They're gonna go get your expansion books. Like, everybody's feeding everybody else, and everybody's benefiting from it. You know what I mean? It's not I'm taking their money. It's I'm making money, and then I'm making them more money. You know, and I don't think they got that. You know, so
yeah, I think. I mean, it's their job to. I mean, it's difficult. People said that I went really hard on the OGL. I hear that a lot. You went so hard, man. I didn't. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to. The way I saw it, my job was just to say, look, this when they lied, I pointed out when they lied. And I was acting on the best information I could from people I was speaking to. And I actually made a pretty significant mistake in doing that because it was so fast.
I saw it was a tweet or something, and then I was talking about it on my stream, and then my moderators were yelling at me like, Luke, you retracted it, it's wrong. And I'm just like, oh, okay, but it happens. I mean, it happens, you know?
No, it does happen, and it still bothered me an awful lot.
Absolutely, yeah,
because you don't want to. Kind of the reality when you're. I mean, I can get into it if people want to know why it happened. But the point of it was that it was such a go time, like it was such a fight. Like the whole everything had to stop to beat this thing.
Yes.
But it's only after we won that I was able to process the. I mean, I don't want to sound over dramatic, but process the sense of betrayal and the loss. Like it's kind of like when you're fighting like that, you don't have time to think about that these people this company that you really liked, that you wanted to support, you were happy to support, that if Wizards of the Coast got in contact with me 6 months ago, I would have been overjoyed. You know, I would have been honored. I would have given them free promotion, you know, just for the association of working with the company. To have someone that you respect and love like that,
right?
To turn around and really feel like stab you in the back. It's very heartbreaking. And it's only after the OGL was won that I've been able to kind of go back and think about what my future is with that company. Like, because, you know, like, you can only really grieve. It's kind of the grieving process now, rather than the sort of like angry process. And I still don't think they get that, honestly. I still, from comments that I've heard from executives towards other people, towards me, Kyle mentioned it in an interview with Bob, he mentioned me, and I still think that there's a little bit of they feel like they're hard done by, that they were somehow attacked.
No,
by
dude,
us. Like they got the raw end of the stick, although we were just doing it for views and attention.
dude, that's
and it's like, do they still not understand that there was a threat there that I'd have to go to I work with my best friends and family.
Mhm.
Like, my sister works with me on videos now, and one of my closest friends works with me on the magazine, and there was a chance that I'd have to go to them and tell them, you're out of a job, I can't support anymore.
Mhm.
And that would have broken my heart.
Yep.
Like that's a terrifying thing to have to imagine saying that to your family. And I still don't think Wizards of the Coast understand that. I still think this is how I feel. I don't know what they think, but I feel from their responses that they still feel like they're hard done by, and that they still feel like that they got unfairly attacked by the creator community. I mean,
look what they did to us. What did they expect? Just for everyone to just be quiet and roll over and die. Like, you can't, like, when you walk up to somebody on the street and sucker punch them in the face, you can't expect them to just do nothing. It's just an unrealistic expectation. So yeah, I have a team of people as well that work for me, and when this started, I was in denial mode at first. I was like, when the leak first came out, I was like, that can't be true. There's no way. That's insane. When Roll for Combat first started coming out with it, I'm like, that can't be true. That's insane. How could they possibly do that? It's incomprehensible for them to make a business decision that way, because there's no business sense to it. It doesn't make any sense, And then when they didn't respond for like a week, that weekend, I was like, this is true, because they're not saying anything. And so that Monday,
they deny it instantly.
Yeah, that Monday, I came out hitting full force too.
Swinging. Yeah, exactly.
And you were saying how you thought you came out hard on your videos. I don't think you came out hard at all. Like, I was watching your videos. When I was watching your videos, my thought was, is this guy's actually telling the truth? He's actually being truthful, reporting facts, and actually stating the situation how it is. Like, this is hardcore, what's going on, this is what they're doing, this is why it's wrong, this is why the entire community should be up in arms about this. Like, and I was like, I was totally like, respect, because that's somebody who's not like thinking about, like, okay, I run a D&D YouTube channel. If I talk bad about Wizards, what if they try to shut me down? Maybe I should be quiet. Maybe I should just sit back and not say a whole lot, and just kind of maybe say something on Twitter or something, but not a whole lot. Just kind of be quiet. Don't make any official statements. Like when I saw you doing that, I was like, hey, he's just letting it all hang out. He's just he's saying how it is, how he feels, and why it's wrong. And I was like, that's my man right there. That's what you got to do, because like, I viewed as a person who has a YouTube channel, a voice, and people actually listen to what I say sometimes. I was looking at it as like, once I realized that it was true, I was like, it is my responsibility, ethically, morally, it is my responsibility to try to tell people what's going on and why it's bad for everyone. Like, there was no choice at that point. It's like, you have to speak up, you have to say something, and if you don't, like, why are you quiet? Are you just looking out for your own interests? Why are you looking out for your own business? It's like, for me, that was how I felt personally. Like, I had to say something,
I do agree. I mean, I understand why some people were quiet, right? I understand why Critical Role were quiet, because they probably have contracts in place where they can't say anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, the truth is, if Critical Role had spoken out actively, it would have ended on the spot. They didn't, so it was a harder fight, but we still won. So I guess they made the right choice. I mean, like, this OGL situation has forever, like, maybe not forever, maybe in 5 years, maybe 2 years, who knows? But probably forever meant that I can never have any kind of professional relationship with Wizards of the Coast. I can't imagine them ever getting in contact. I mean, like, over the course of the stuff I was reporting, a lot of employees came forward and said, like, look, this particular CEO is verbally abusive and a bully. And I thought that was, I was trying to explain why this has happened. Why has this happened, that so many great people in a company allowed this to happen? Well, it turns out that this executive who's kind of pulling the strings is terrible to work with, and they're very unhappy. And he's bullied people out of the company. Mm-hmm. And so I reported on that. But I can't imagine. Can you imagine if you were that executive, would you ever let anyone have any interaction with me? Fuck no.
No.
Sorry, but you wouldn't, right? Like, why on earth would you?
I think I like the thing you mentioned Critical Role not saying anything, and I 100% agree that they probably had legal stuff preventing them. I will say this though, I like to believe that behind the scenes they probably were fighting for the cause. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They must have
I
been.
hope so.
Yeah.
They do. Critical Role, for all I've ever seen, wonderful people.
Mhm.
Like, not only are they hugely successful and this titanic company, but they seem to they understand that their community is everything. They simply, it's actually bad business for them to be jerks, right? So not only are they naturally great people, they do wonderful things for charity and mental health, but also, it's good business for them to be good people. So
yeah, I mean,
I hope they did. I didn't hear anything from that, but I don't think anyone I was talking to would have known.
No, I feel like
that seems
I have 2 points. One, I agree that it is good business to be a good person. Like, when you are genuinely a good person and you try to do business in an ethical, moral way, that usually will benefit you. We just saw a wizard do something that was unethical and immoral, and it did not benefit them.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get to that in a second. But the other thing too is that when Critical Role had their little release, they made a little statement. This is interesting. When I first read that, I said to some of the people on my team, I was like, "What?" And then one of my team members was like, Luke, read between the lines. They are completely on the side of OGL and open D&D and stuff, but they probably just can't, they have their hands are tied. They probably can't say exactly what they want to say because of legal reasons or something. And then as I read their statement, I was like, yeah, I totally see that now. And so they definitely had something tied in their hands where they couldn't say it.
They must have done.
Yeah.
They must have. They're too closely associated. They publish books together yearly almost,
Yeah.
They probably have some kind of clause where they can't ever criticize them publicly or something.
I like to think the narrative in my head is I like to think that Mercer and the cast were all just kind of like, let's go on and talk, and their lawyers were like, you can't, don't do it, you can't, please.
Well, I mean, as it happens, we won kind of without them as well. So maybe if it had really come down to the wire, they didn't need to come out swinging. Mm-hmm. But maybe if it literally come down to that, maybe they did. And like I say, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know these people's lives. We don't know the executives' lives. There's all sorts of pressures. Like I talk about it briefly in the video where I kind of tell everything that I got told. But there's this thing called the Hasbro Blueprint 2.0 initiative. Okay. Where D&D they have to increase how much they're worth. Mm-hmm. Because Hasbro are dropping support for low-performing IPs. Wizards of the Coast have they want D&D to catch up to Wizards. The figure I was given was that they want it to be a billion dollar brand by 2028, I think. I'd have to double check that. I'd have to find.
No, they want D&D to catch up to Wizards.
To Magic. Yeah, they want it to catch up to Magic, gotcha. Right? Which is a 1.3 billion.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like you can understand how that's pressure coming down on them, mm-hmm. and then they have to do something,
right?
And the people who can't handle their job, I mean, in my opinion, if you can't do your job without screaming at people or bullying them, then you're not fit for that position. Yes. And clearly, there's just people up there who aren't fit for the position they're in. Mm-hmm. They kind of crawl up the ladder through connections and kind of the old boys club. They wind up in a place they can't handle. Maybe they're in unhappy people just in their personal lives, and mm-hmm. they take it out at work. I mean, that really they're pitiable, right? Like it's not. I'm not trying to say that they deserve to be, attacked or, anything crazy like that. Really, we should feel sorry for them. But as it happens, their decisions were going to hurt, thousands of people. And I'm sorry, I'm on the side of the people who are getting screwed over, not the side of the people who are screwing them over.
Yeah, you have a lot more sympathy and empathy in your heart than I do, I suspect, because when I think of the people at the top and the decisions they make, and what they were trying to do, I can't be like, oh, feel sorry for them. No, they were trying to screw over a lot of people, and they knew what they were doing. Executives are not fools. I've worked with lots of executives, like senior executives in my time. I used to work in a financial services company. I've worked with a lot of executives. They're all very smart. Most of them are very talented, and they know their crap. They're not idiots. They might make horrible business decisions, and they might have bad motivations. A lot of times it's financially motivated and stuff, but they're not idiots. They understand what they're doing. I have a hard time believing that an executive just kind of like didn't know that it would be such a big deal.
I agree that I think they knew. They knew. Yeah. They thought. I mean, they just thought they could get away with it.
Yes.
It's old fashioned. It's old-fashioned business. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, the impact that our coverage had really comes down to the insider leaks from Wizards of the Coast itself. Like, people say, oh, you know, the big influencers did the thing, right? Like, I think my videos were the biggest at the time on it. But that was the only reason they were big is because people were giving me information directly inside Wizards. And those people wouldn't have given that information if they'd have been happy there.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, happy, content workers who are treated well and listened to, they don't go running to influencers. They don't risk their jobs to fight for the community if they're content. The reason they did that is because they were mistreated, like overworked, underpaid, bullied, ignored, shouted down in meetings. Like, the amount of people who just gave personal accounts of interactions with executive level people where they just said, yeah, well, we were halfway through a meeting and then this guy just shouted us down and completely co-opted the meeting and ruined it. I heard that tale like in different ways, like 5-6 different times. And really the tens of millions of dollars that Wizards of the Coast lost, they can blame me or you, or they can blame Twitter all they like, but really it's because they didn't treat their people well. Really, just not being a nice person, just not treating the people below you on the corporate hierarchy, cost the company at that point tens of millions of dollars, maybe more over the course of years, maybe hundreds of millions, who knows. And I mean, to be honest, it's astonishing to me that no one, well, I'm not astonished, but I kind of feel like someone somewhere should have probably lost their job over it. I don't know what it takes to lose a job at the executive level. If you can cost the company tens of millions of dollars and have it come out that you're verbally abusive, and you still don't lose the job, I'm like, okay.
No, well, I'll tell you what it takes. It basically, so right now, I bet you those executives are on a crap list, right? And they're basically being told, look you just lost us X amount of money. You had better get it back, plus some, right? By X date. You better hit that deadline, otherwise you are probably going to be gone, you know? And then, that's, I mean, right now it's like, okay, do we just get rid of these executives so that we can hear the bad people, they're gone? Is that the solution? And then we bring in new people? Now, are the new people the new executives you bring in, are they gonna get us the money back or not? Maybe not. So let's have the current people put some fire under their butts to try to get us the revenue back. In the meantime, let's get some feelers out for people that can replace them just in case they fail, you know, as opposed to just getting rid of them immediately and then not having somebody to put in their place. So there's probably some corporate stuff going on, you know, but they probably got some fire under their butts to get the money back. Did you notice, by the way, that D&D Beyond right now has a free trial subscription? You can get a free trial subscription to it. You know, did you?
No, but that makes total sense. Like, why wouldn't you? They need to get the numbers back up.
Yes, they lost so many people. Now it's like the teaser, the little like, oh, come for free, and then get people to like it again, and then you have to give your credit card, obviously, to get in for free, and then the monthly reoccurring charge will begin like a month later. It's like, obviously, so they're hurting for revenue. I mean,
that's just business. I mean, like they'll do that. I'm not saying Wizards of the Coast shouldn't earn money. Oh, they shouldn't. Obviously, you got to try to get people.
Right.
It makes sense to make D&D Beyond free when the movie comes out, because I reckon a lot of people will maybe try to, like try it out, and they'll be like, oh, let's get D&D Beyond. It's free. Makes sense. But personally, I don't have much faith in their VTT. I've seen the Wizards of the Coast denied it, but I've seen I've seen meeting notes with the figures. It's going to be expensive to get the full thing. They might have changed it since in response to the feedback, but $30 a month is what they're working with, and I don't think it's going to be a big success on its own. I personally think D&D Beyond might it might sadly kind of have its place taken by some of the other. I think a lot of other companies are looking at what D&D Beyond was and could have been, and they're kind of seeing a free meal, and they're going to move into being that space where you can get all the homebrew contents up there and you can work with it, and it'll be really easy to use. I think that's kind of good. Although I've heard great things about Dan Rawson is managing D&D Beyond now, and apparently he's really good.
Yeah.
A lot of people mentioned in passing that Dan Rawson is actually doing good stuff. So And there's an executive who people like. So, I don't know what he had to do, if anything, with the OGL, but they're not all bad people,
Right.
So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with D&D Beyond. It's a shame, but
Yeah.
companies going to be companies at the end of the day.
I don't fault them for trying to make money. I mean, I try to make money because if I don't make money, I can't pay my employees. I can't pay my house mortgage. Like, business has got to make money. I think the devil's in the details. It's how do you make that money? Are you being honest? Are you being ethical? Or are you resorting to sleazy business dealings, trying to screw people over, clandestine contracts that nobody can see? To basically try to, it's the question is how do you go about making that money? I think that's the important thing,
Exactly, and the sustainability of it too. I feel like you can cash in the value accrued in a brand quite easily. I was speaking with Solarian Community College, who had a great metaphor for this.
I
He's
watched
on the
that
Magic
video.
the Gathering side.
That was a great video.
Oh, you did, yeah. He's a
cool.
he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
A huge honor to talk to him too. Lovely in person. And he gave a great example. I don't know if it made it into the video, but he sort of said it like Magic the Gathering, but it's true of D&D, is like a house that people have built over the years, and they've made it into a wonderful house, and it started making a lot of money. You maybe make it into a hotel, right? People are renting out rooms, you're earning loads of money, and then new management come in, and they find that there's all this copper wiring in the walls, and if you take the copper wiring out, you can sell it, and you can make so much goddamn money so quickly. You can sell this copper wiring, and over the next 2 years, the profits will skyrocket. But the problem is, the copper wiring is brand trust. And the truth is that 2 years ago, every D&D book was looked like people were hype about it. Like, up until Tasha's, I would say, everyone was like, what a great book Tasha's was. You know what I mean? What a great book Xanathar's was. Now, every time a new D&D book is released, I see people are approaching with skepticism. They're like, oh, what's actually in this book? Like, nothing. Like, the Keys to the Golden Vault just came out, right? And people are, I don't see anyone even bothering to talk about it. Like, what's in it? It's just a release. It's just content to try and get some money, but there's not enough stuff in there. They're putting out too much stuff. It's like if you don't increase the size of your team, you don't support your design team, but you just demand that they triple the content. Of course, content's going to get worse.
Well, the interesting thing is like if you look at Spelljammer box set, $80, 150 pages of content, right?
Yeah,
it's like that's such a sham. It's a sham. And then if you look at the TSR days, say what you want about how they manage their company, but they produced a prolific amount of content. There were books coming out all the time in the TSR days, and they were high quality, awesome books. It was good crap. So it's not, you see, the thing is like right now, Wizards is probably bigger and has a larger staff and everything than TSR ever did. So they could definitely probably create the same amount of content and make it quality, but they're not for some reason. And I think that I'm just gonna speculate that it's probably just standard cost cutting. They don't want to spend the money to make an actually good product. They just want to get something out there to charge money for it. You know what I mean?
And I guess maybe they don't want to invest in 5e if they're going to replace it. Maybe that's it. Why make all these new races and subclasses?
No, hold on a second, Will. Hold on a second. It's a next evolution of D&D, 100% backwards compatible. 5e is not being replaced. I take umbrage to that statement.
No, you're right. I mean, for real though, you can look at the new Druid, for example, from a few days ago. There's no way on earth 6e, 1D&D is going to be backwards compatible. That new Druid simply cannot operate. If you bought the Wildfire Druid a few years ago, there's no way that would work with this new subclass. This new class of the Druid. It's not backwards compatible. I think people are over that line. I think that line's just there to make people still buy the new stuff while they can. But
there's
no way.
That's another example. That's another tiny example of their dishonesty and their lack of transparency. You know, like all the things with the OGL that they did was lack of transparency, dishonesty, and stuff like that. But also then you go back to their announcement how it's not going to be a new edition, it's going to be backwards compatible. There's constantly these little things of dishonesty, lack of ethics. You're right. You know, it's like scattered all over the place. You know,
I got that from Kyle Brink's interviews too. Who I've got nothing against the guy personally. But I got the sense that he told the truth where he could, but he said things that I know for a fact aren't true.
Yeah.
Or they're like half truths. And it feels like everything they say they'll never just say the truth. They say, what is something that we can say which will get us more money? Everything they say, and it's just like, if they'd have just been honest all along, then the OGL wouldn't have got the kickback it would have done. And it's the same with it's the same with everything. Yeah, no, this isn't going to be backwards compatible. So again, you've ripped out that bit of copper wiring. Now people won't trust what they say in the future. Why would they?
Yeah.
We burned that little bit of copper wiring in the house.
Yeah, I think that when I was watching the interviews, I've watched all 3 of them now, and the biggest takeaway that I had in my brain was this appears to be complete PR right now. We're playing politics. We are telling people what they want to hear to try to make them trust us again, to try to get us out of the situation. I did not feel a sense of actual transparency, of coming clean and admitting stuff or anything. I felt like there was all political answers. And Bob brought this up in his video where he specifically said, look, I sent all of my questions to them ahead of time so that if they needed to do research, they could. And Wizards literally told him, we will do research ahead of time, so please send us your questions if you feel comfortable doing so. And so Bob did. And then several times, Kyle said in his interview, well, I'm not on that team, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Kyle,
yeah.
you had a week or more to get that information, and you had the question. So when I heard that, I was like, that's a complete cop-out. That's his plausible deniability to not have to answer the question. And that's what Bob said basically too. And I was like, come on, God, come on, man.
It makes sense. I mean, this is what Kyle, maybe in some sense, Kyle's job is. Like, I don't want to be, it's not my job. I had to say this to some employees actually at Wizards at one point. It cannot be my job to just attack Wizards of the Coast for everything they do. Like, we won the OGL. It's not my job to try and whip people into a frenzy and get like Chris KO fired, right? That's not the point. I can't do that. I want to make content that I enjoy. That's the whole point. And I think that's what I felt about they put Kyle Brink out there because from a business move, it's genius because the guy's likable. He seems like a nice guy. I'm sure he's lovely in person. He's doing a job. He's not the person who did the OGL. He's doing the best he can. The problem is, by putting him out there, if we want to have a go at his answers, suddenly it does seem like you're being very critical of a guy. It feels like you're attacking someone, and no one wants to come after Kyle Brink,
which is which is exactly part of the strategy of attaching a face to it.
Yeah,
it's harder to attack a person than it is to attack a company. Yeah.
Yes, they put a face on it, and now if I wanted to make a video, which I do not want to make another video on it, but if I had to make a video going through and saying every time Kyle Brink lied in every interview, like for a start, that would always come across as mean-spirited, no matter what you do. And much worse, there is always going to be a few crazies. Like my YouTube channel, maybe gets like 6 million views a month, right? Some of those people are going to be nuts, no matter what. There's going to be a few people who will see that as an excuse to go and abuse Kyle or attack Kyle publicly, and that is not what I want. So at the end of the day, you have to wash your hands of it and just say, I mean, that's what I've done. I've kind of just I've said, like, I'm not gonna, unless they try something like the OGL again, I just don't want to have anything to do with this. And I'm sure they don't want to have anything to do with me. So but yeah, no, it can't be our job as influencers to just wail on the company for every tiny thing. Go to bat for. At the end of the day, if the people working there want a better company, and I said this to them, look, if you want to really make change, you're going to have to come forward publicly and make it happen from within. I don't know if they will.
I agree.
They're good people, but they risk a lot to do that, right?
Yeah, it also gets very exhausting to make content like that. Like I only made a few videos myself, but it got exhausting and old. It's like I want to help game masters again. I want to make my informative videos that are going to help game masters, and my videos on OGLs, same as yours, got tons of views and stuff. So it was like, that's nice, but geez, is that really what I want to do forever? It's just bash somebody,
and it's probably also worth mentioning, like, just to jump on here, because this is a common criticism whenever anything gets views. People assume that views equal money. They do to some extent, but in case anyone's wondering, the videos I made on the OGL earned me far, far, far less money than normal videos would. Because normal videos have integrated sponsorships. Which is overwhelmingly, where in my job, that's where my money comes from,
Right.
is from talking about great products that I believe in and promoting them. I can't do that on an OGL video. That would be insane, right?
Right.
You can't
Yep.
you can't be like, and now let's
Yep.
talk about NordVPN or something,
can't.
or
Yep.
you know, like
Yep.
a cool Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So people, it just kind of shows that people don't understand how YouTube works. If anyone accuses a YouTuber of trying to cash in on the OGL,
Yeah.
um,
No.
as it happens, no, those
No.
videos, I would have made a lot more money just making normal content.
Yeah, and the videos I made too, my entire motivation, frankly, was that I was pissed, and I wanted to let people know what was going on, why it was bad, and what we could do to help, fight against this thing, and so that's my videos came from there. Did they get lots of views? Some of them did, yeah, but it's like, look, dude, I just want people to understand what's going on, so they don't get away with this. That was the entire purpose.
It's a lazy way to discredit someone. If they have any degree of presence online, you can always just say, well, everything you do must be for views.
Yeah.
And that's probably the other downside of being a like you are, like a sort of like a well-known influencer, is that people are always supposing your motivations.
Right.
You can never just make a mistake in a video and be like, oh, oops, my bad, I made a mistake. No, suddenly you have to be maliciously lying to capture views. You know what I mean? It's never that you, dude, I thought this was a cool idea. I guess it doesn't work. No, like you are a monster who is, ruining the. But I suppose that's always the case, right? D&D has always been a place where hysterical voices will scream, be it the Satanic Panic or be it the YouTubers capitalizing off the OGL. It's always been the way.
I mean, I've been the target of some of that stuff. I'll put some videos out. I do these parody videos once a month with another channel, Peak D&D, and we basically it's a satire. It's a parody.
News videos.
It's a parody.
Yeah.
We're just making fun of things, and we're just poking things, and we're doing it as a satire and a parody, and like, without a doubt, every single time somebody freaks out because they believe it. But that's the whole point of a parody. The whole point of a parody is that you get sucked in.
You have the satire thing come up at the start as well.
It's crazy.
That's really funny. Well, that's just the internet, though. You cannot make a joke. Like I meme around a lot on Twitter, and people seem to genuinely think I'm being serious sometimes. It's like, you don't get that. It's a joke, dude. Right. That's just. But that's the internet.
I'm gonna play a sleazy plug, and then we're gonna answer some of these questions we got here.
Once upon a time, there was a dungeon master named Timmy. He was too busy to properly prepare for his games, and his players all thought he sucked. But then Timmy's mommy got him Lair magazine for Christmas, reducing his prep time and improving the quality of his games. And then Timmy's players all loved him and thought he was the best dungeon master ever. Be like Timmy and become a DM Lair patron at the link below. Yeah.
All right, he just walked away from me. So I'm gonna talk crap about him while he's not here. No, not really. All right, so I see a whole bunch of questions. I see some questions. We are gonna be getting into questions, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to throw some questions in the chat, my moderators are paying attention to your questions in the chat. You want to do #question and then throw it in there, and they're gonna be putting it into a spreadsheet here. So we'll make sure that we get everybody's questions. You can ask us about whatever you want. It can be OGL stuff. It can just be D&D, it could be RPGs, it could be whatever, it doesn't really matter, but we're gonna start answering some questions. Now, we do have a few of these coming through now, and so we might not get to everything, but if you super chat it, we will always answer your super chat 100%. So, all right, first off, let's see, we had a $2 super chat from Anthony Peterson. Thank you, sir. The super chat simply says, for your cat's room and board. Well, thank you. $2 will get Squeaky one meal because he is a big chonker. But thank you, I appreciate that. AJ Bernard, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. AJ says, the OGL mess drove me away from Wizards of the Coast again. Like 4th edition, I'm back with Paizo, and I'm really enjoying it. Hope you guys include Pathfinder 2 content. Well, I don't know about you, Will, but I can tell you that not only do I permanently pretty much have my Pathfinder 2nd edition book on my desk because I'm running a game for it now, and I'm in a game for it. I'm in a couple games for it right now, but my team is actively getting like a crash course in Pathfinder 2 stuff. Literally, 2 of my team members, Zach and Ed, they're talking with Mark Shifter. I always get his last name wrong. But his name is like, he's like one of the co-lead designers of Pathfinder 2 for Paizo. His name is on like every single one of Pathfinder 2 books pretty much. And two of my team members are getting up to speed with him, and we're gonna pay for some private consultations and seminars to get going.
Oh, cool.
So that my team can start. Lair magazine is going to start having Pathfinder 2 content in it. Like right now, it's just D&D 5th edition. In March, we're going to be doing an unofficial soft rollout of Pathfinder 2 content where we convert 5th edition to Pathfinder 2. And then our plan is for August, the magazine itself will be both for 5th edition and Pathfinder 2. So not only am I personally starting to run Pathfinder 2 games, but like their magazine is going to start having Pathfinder 2 content as well. So to answer AJ's question, yes, my team is 100% going to have Pathfinder 2 content for sure. How are you on the... What are you as far as like Pathfinder 2 or other game systems and stuff? Like, where do you kind of sit on that?
I mean, I've never played Pathfinder. I would be interested in learning. It's one of those things where finding the time, and I understand people's unwillingness to have to learn a new system, even though I don't think Pathfinder 2 is too difficult to learn.
It's close enough to D&D that like you
slip right in.
It's like if you speak Spanish and you have to learn Portuguese. It's like it's close enough. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. And it's a similar vibe. These systems are just ways of telling stories. Like the magic, it doesn't come from 5e. The magic comes from your imagination and your friends. Mm-hmm. But personally, you can go to Pathfinder 2e if you want. That's awesome. But the main reason to boycott Wizards of the Coast, whether you agree with them or not, is that their products you can get such a better book for $60 than any D&D book released. Like you don't need to hate Wizards of the Coast to never buy from them again. You can just look. You've got 60 books here. I've got like you can't see it now, but there's a book on that I was reading the other day that's it's Crown of the Oathbreaker. It's about like 1,000 pages long. It's Titanic. It's enough D&D content for literally years. Of crafted, beautiful illustrations, that's just one Kickstarter book. You could have got that for $30. So like, why buy? To me, it's like, why would I ever buy a Spelljammer when I can buy an Eldritch Hunt or a Lairs and Legends? Like, why would you? But like, so I think that's the main thing I would encourage everyone to do is for your own wallets. Look at the third-party publishers, even in 5e. And you'll find incredible stuff. If you don't want to support Wizards directly, you can support creators making better books anyway. And that's kind of where I go. I love looking at that stuff.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I when I run 5th edition games, which I still do, I swear by Kobold Press Monsters, Tome of Beasts 1, 2, and 3, Creature Codex. Like I almost exclusively use Kobold Press Monsters because they're just better. It's better content. They're stronger monsters. They're better. They're more interesting.
The Dungeon Coach is here. Sweet. Sorry, I just saw on chat.
Cool. Dungeon Coach. Awesome. I heard Peak D&D might be here too. What's up, guys? Yeah, they are. Cool. Awesome.
Oh, I missed it. Yeah.
And then there's always the Kickstarters, and I think you're totally right.
Yeah.
Like I personally have completely stopped buying anything from Wizards because I am choosing not to support them right now as a company because of the business practices they're currently engaged in. And what they did with the OGL, but also just because what you brought up is the quality of their product is just declining so much. It's like I'm not buying any of their stuff anymore. But even if you don't want to, like you said, boycott them because of what they're doing as a business, like there's such better options out there. There's stronger content. It's better. Like one of the things that has impressed me about Paizo's Pathfinder 2 stuff is that it's really well done. It's like high quality crap. I have like almost every single one of their books now on my bookcase. And like I'll every so often when I have to go use the bathroom for a little bit, I'll take a book with me and like I'm reading the books and it's like this is good stuff, It's
exactly.
well designed.
I mean, it's what happens when you're the top dog. You get lazy, right? Like Wizards of the Coast. Why bother? Treating their designers right. Why bother hiring more people when they can hire a load of contractors who don't really care and they're underpaid and overworked? Like every other company, they don't have the luxury of not caring.
Right.
They're not billion-dollar companies. They have to give it everything they've got just to even be seen.
Right.
So yeah, of course, it's going to be so much better. So that was to my answer. I haven't played Pathfinder, but I'm full in support of any other system or just any independent creators.
Yeah.
Would be awesome.
Yeah, when I go to conventions, I make it a point to play other game systems. Like that's besides like the networking and meeting people and saying hi to people. When I go to conventions, I'm intentionally trying to play other game systems so that I'm exposed to them, so I can learn them. Like I'm going to be going to the Gary Con. I think when was that? That's in March. It's like in a few weeks. So I'll be I'll be at Gary Con, and I signed up for Castles and Crusades, I think is a game system. There was a couple of those I signed up for. And then I think there's another person that's running a first edition D&D game, like AD&D or something.
Cool.
And I was like, I love the old school type games where it's just like you literally have like an index card for your character, and then it's just there's just I don't know if I'd want to play an entire campaign like that, but for a one shot, it's just such a cool retro feel to it. I just love it. So I love exposing myself to different game systems, especially at conventions, because one of the only chances I get, kind of, But yeah, there's a lot of cool games out there. Call of Cthulhu, I love Call of Cthulhu games. Usually,
I've heard that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really
as
cool.
a flavorful setting.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool. It's totally different from D&D. Like there's not a lot of combat, and when combat happens, you usually die pretty quick. But there's a lot of investigation and mystery involved, and poking around and talking, and it's a really, but it's really cool. I love it, and also it's a skill-based system, which I'm really big on. Like I love skill-based systems. So like D&D, you pick a class, you're a wizard or you're a fighter or something, and that determines pretty much everything, right? A skill-based system, you just when you level up, you say, oh, I'm gonna get better at my strength, or I'm gonna get better at my mechanical skills, or I'm gonna improve my sword play, so you just pick skills that you want to improve, and it's just so much more, there's so much more options involved, so that's something I like too, is a skill-based system. So all right, let's hit some more questions. What do you guys think about Kyle admitting to Bob Worldbuilder that he was afraid to talk to people who might be uncomfortable to talk to about the OGL? You remember that part?
I think they were talking specifically about me.
Was it?
Yeah, I think they named me by name.
Yeah.
I think Bob said, why did you not talk to D&D shorts?
Yeah.
I think Kyle said that he would personally feel uncomfortable speaking to me because I can't remember the exact wording he used, but I think the reason he gave was I think he was worried that he'd just be attacked for an hour. That I'd just be like, why the fuck, why you do this, why you do that, this is outrageous. And I don't think he wanted to, that might be true. I don't know. I it's a shame if he feels that way. I feel like I tried to always be fair. I was upset. And Wizards of the Coast did bad stuff, and I called him out on it. And I wouldn't let corporate stuff go. If he gave me a non-answer, I would say, Kyle, I'm going to need you to, talk again.
Answer the question.
And kind of do better.
Yeah.
Or can you be honest? But I think that might be the reason he gave. Personally, I think they would have been crazy to talk to me because they don't know how much information I have.
Right.
The only thing they know is that I've been in communication with Wizards of the Coast, behind their backs for the last month and a half.
Right.
So Kyle said things to Bob and to Ginny and to Three Black Halflings and stuff that I know isn't true. They don't know that, right? So if I think, why would you ever go into a conversation with someone who could potentially, if Kyle said something like what he said to me live, I could say, they don't know if I can say, look, Kyle, I've got a copy of the minutes from that meeting right here.
Right.
I know you're lying.
Right.
That would be a disaster.
Right.
That would be, for example, not to get too deep into it, but at one point he said that the reason why there was a radio silence on D&D for a week was because he was working solidly on D&D 2.0, right? Which is he might have been working on that, but he said the company was working on that, but that's not true because we have a leaked FAQ document that was supposed to go live on the Thursday, which was finished. It was ready to go. And Linda Codega has that too. And they did an article about it. I did a video about it. And I could have, I could pull that document up right then and there. If he said that to me live, I could say, look, Kyle, that's not true.
Right.
that would be a PR disaster to be able to prove literally on stream that he was lying, especially because their whole point was like, we're going to prove that we're better through our actions, and then to say immediately he jumps into a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just doing his job. I'm not saying he's an inherently duplicitous person, but I completely understand why they would not want to talk to me. Maybe he did feel like I'd attack him. If so, that's a shame. I do have some regrets about the OGL situation, particularly the fact that I think sometimes the coverage came across as critical of the design team, who I really like, and who I heard only good things about. I hate the idea that if I was at a convention and Jeremy Crawford is at the same convention, that he would be frightened or intimidated or just think I was a terrible person. I mean, that sucks. But at the end of the day, I did the best I could. And whether that's good enough for Jeremy Crawford or for anyone watching, I mean, that's up to you. But I did do the best I could. And I understand why they wouldn't want to, not knowing what I know, exactly how much information I have. I think from a business perspective, it would have been crazy. It would have been crazy to talk to me live.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I was watching all your videos, and not all of your tweets, because there were a lot of them, but enough of them. And I saw you so many times say, listen, most of the people at Wizards are great, wonderful people. And I've even seen you say things. You even had one where you were talking about people were saying Jeremy Crawford, the design team, was wonderful to work with. So I think you did a very good job and a fair job of making sure that you were very clear about who you were upset with and who was just doing a good job and were great people and stuff. So to me, it was very clear, but I totally get what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they feel about me at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter how they like. It doesn't matter if Jeremy Crawford likes me or not, right? I'm sure he's not worrying about me when he does his job. I'm not going to worry about him when I do my job. But as it happens, I like the guy. From through secondhand sources, he seemed lovely, and it's a shame to me that over the course of that battle, our relationship is probably over. But I mean, it happens, right? The OGL was something that Wizards did. It's not something that I did.
Right.
They, not to sound petty, but it was, they started it. If the sacrifice of winning was that it was that the design team don't like me, they think I'm like a drama chaser or something, then I guess I've got to live with that.
That's life. Because I totally get it. Because in my boat, where I was sitting too, it was like, what do I need to do? What is the correct ethical way for me to respond to this whole thing? I have to do the right thing. Like, I have to follow my moral compass and do the right thing. And for me, that was talk about this, make videos about this, make sure people understand. That's just how I felt. That was the right thing to do. And so when you're trying to do the right thing, you have to realize that not everybody's going to view it as the right thing, and there are probably going to be people that don't like that. And if that means that there are people at Wizards that who knows? Maybe Wizards doesn't even know I exist. But I might be in the same boat where like they don't want anything to do with me either. Who knows? So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, also though, like I don't know how much people know this, but Wizards of the Coast never wanted anything to do with anyone before the OGL.
Tell me about it.
It's not like Wizards of the Coast were, ringing me up every day, like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? We love the videos." Blah blah blah. Wizards of the Coast have always been an extremely cold to their creators,
aloof,
community, unless you're critical role level big, where you're literally making them hundreds of millions of dollars. They do not care. So we can be like, Wizards of the Coast, they'll never contact the DM Lair now. Well, or they'll never contact D&D Shorts now. Honestly, I don't think they would ever have contacted me before.
No.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care.
No.
They don't see, it's crazy to me that they don't care. I think they can make a lot of money by supporting their creator community, but they don't. And,
it's crazy.
Whatever.
But business is business, because when there's money on the line, people will overlook some things in the past. Like, let's pretend that 5 years from now you become some prolific giant in the RPG space, right? People at Wizards might be like, hey, we need to make a deal with this guy and get something going, because let's pretend that you become the next critical role as in terms of influence and success. They could easily, it's business, dude. You overlook slights.
Yeah, they would walk it back.
Yeah, because
and a year is a long time in business. The people who are at the top now might not be at the top in a year or 5 years.
3 years. Three years is about how long executives are there before they go to a different company, and that's one of the reasons we see executives making poor decisions like they made right now, because an executive only needs to think about two things, okay? They need to think about, they have conditional performance bonuses so they can get lots of money if they meet certain goals, okay? So they got to meet those goals. Second, they need to make sure that the company that they're at succeeds in the short term, about 3 years or so, because that's probably how long they're going to be there. And they need to make sure that they can have good success for 3 years, put it on my resume, because I'm going to hop to a different company.
And
because many executives, not every company, but many companies, basically high-level executives are there for a few years and they jump ship and go somewhere else. That's just the way it works in the business world. And so executives make these short-sighted decisions a lot of times because they're thinking about, I'm only here for 3 years and these are my goals, this is what's going to help my career. This isn't every single one of them, right? Because I'm sure there are tons of executives who really want to do what's right for their company, but there are some of them that's just like, I'm here for 3 years, I need to hit my goals, get my bonuses and stuff, make sure my resume looks good, and I'm going to the next company. Not everybody's like that, I want to be clear, but there are definitely some who think that way. And so I tend to think that when you see really bad decisions come out that are very short-sighted, it's probably because you have a self-centered executive who's only thinking about the short term for them and not their effect on the company, their effect on the employees, their effect on the industry, the community. They're not thinking about those things because frankly, they're only going to be there a few years and they're gone. You know what I mean? So not everybody's like that, but I feel like there's enough of them because I used to work with executives and I've seen that sort of thing, you know, so.
Yeah, it's a whole world that I have no experience in. I've never done the corporate thing, never been involved. I've always just been a guy. I did a master's degree in music, and then I came and made YouTube content. So
yeah,
a lot of the OGL for me was realizing how naive I was on how business worked. Like I heard things and I was like, no way can that be true. And then when I made videos about it, people were like, bro, you're describing how every single corporate business in America works. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So, Wizards of the Coast might not be any worse than anyone else. Maybe this whole like ass kissing versus bullying thing, it's just how it's done, which sucks. But, that was news to me at the time. But apparently it's not that unusual.
No, and I would say that the company that I worked at wasn't that bad. And so I saw some of this, but it wasn't really horrible. But the exposure to it and knowing about it definitely helps me now running my own business and stuff, But it's kind of like one of those experiences where it's just like you see this dark underbelly of things and you're just kind of like, oh, that's really bad, but that experience is beneficial for you because it helps you in the future type of thing, I wouldn't recommend that people, if you can avoid working in corporate and just do your own thing and live your own life without having to mix with that, you're better off for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love my job and I've got a great life. Like outside of, I don't want to not to go into it like too much, but it's useful to remind people that D&D is not like people know you, Luke, as the D&D guy, right? They know me as someone who makes D&D content, but we have whole lives outside of that too. And making sure that those lives aren't impacted negatively by the OGL and stuff was another big challenge that I don't see many people talking about, but that was a hard line to walk too. Is not finishing the day's work as such and then sitting down and being unable to do anything because you're thinking about the OGL constantly. I mean, it was tough. But yeah, exactly. I don't see myself going into corporate anytime soon. But
yeah, I hear that. All right, we're gonna do a bio break here. I'll play a sleazy plug and then we'll get back to some more questions.
Hello, Barbarian here. I'm interrupting your regularly scheduled program with a very important announcement. Now, some of you have been watching the DM Lair for years now, and others of you are new here. And if you're new, that's okay. And if you're really old and you have like gray hair or no hair at all, I mean, that's okay too. We do not participate in ageism around here. In fact, this is an ism-free zone. There are like absolutely no isms around here. In fact, if your name ends in ism, you should leave now. Wait, you know what? Just to play it safe, if you have any of the following letters in your name, you should leave. I, S, or M. Yeah. Anyway, the important announcement. Well, I'm really just going to ask you for money, but I'm going to dress it all up in fancy marketing clothes so that you'll never even realize that I'm manipulating your fragile emotions to make a quick buck. Trust me, this will be the world's best sleazy plug. Won't you please consider becoming a DM Lair patron at the link below? You see, my team and I work really hard to publish Lair magazine every month for our beautiful patrons. And when we don't have enough patrons, well, revenue dips. And when revenue dips, we have to do cutbacks. And well, that's really sad. You see, people always blame companies when they have to do cutbacks, but really it's your fault as the consumer for not buying all their crap. Or it's because they're trying to maximize shareholder value for stockholders. Or the C-suite could just have their heads up their butts because, that happens a lot. Anyway, I'm not just asking you to throw your money into a hole. When you become a DM Lair patron, you're going to get cool stuff every month. 5th edition adventures, monsters, traps, puzzles, magic items, digital maps, and more. So if you don't want me to have to fire Penguin Butt and Goliath Cleric, become a DM Lair patron today at the link below. Oh no, I just realized that I have an I in my name. Barbarian has an I in it. I guess I'm gonna have to fire myself. Bye now.
All right, rock and roll. Cool. We got super chats coming in. We're gonna hit some of these.
Nice, yeah.
All right, Gambler Alex says, $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Have either of you played Blades in the Dark? It's going to be a no from me.
That's the one where you do like a heist, right? Is it the... if it's the heist one, then no, but I'm booked in for a game with my friends. I think like literally this Saturday.
Of that game?
I'm not sure. I think it's that one.
Yeah.
It might not be. It might be a different one. But yeah, like I've never played it. I've heard amazing things. If anyone's thinking about checking it out, I can secondhandly recommend it. It sounds awesome.
Okay, cool. I've never even heard of it, but I'm not super informed in a lot of things. I live in a hole. I spend I spent so much time just working down here that I'm very limited in my exposure. I have to be very specific and selective about the things that I even know about.
You engage with. Yeah,
like
exactly.
If you're talking about world events, like if there's a war happening, I probably know about it, but that's gonna be it. I'm pretty much oblivious.
No, I feel that. Yeah. It's good apparently, but no, I haven't played it. Sorry.
Cool. Brian Cummings, thank you for $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Luke, you played the 5th edition of Shadowrun recently. I believe it was 5th edition. I definitely played Shadowrun recently. Watch those videos intently. Getting ready to run a 6th edition game for my D&D group. What should I know that I don't? You're asking the wrong person, dude, because I only played Shadowrun for one shot, and it was I think we did 2 game sessions. So I don't know, man. I have no idea. That's all I can tell you, because I don't know anything about it except that I enjoyed it. I loved the dice chucking. Will, the thing that Shadowrun had that I really enjoyed was they all use D6s, and basically based on your abilities and different things and circumstances, you get more and more D6s, and you end up rolling like 10 plus D6s. All right, and then if the result is a 5 or a 6, it's considered a success, and then you count up the number of successes you have, and then the game master is rolling D6s as well. I don't understand how he chooses how many, but then he counts up his successes, 5s or 6s, and then if your successes are more than his, then you won whatever that challenge or thing was, Okay,
and so it sounds cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool mechanic. And then if you roll 1s, those are failures, and then if you get too many failures or something, bad stuff can happen. So the mechanics of rolling dice I thought was very intriguing. And you end up rolling more and more dice, and you're just dice, so.
Yeah, a lot of endorphin rocks going around.
Yeah, so it was cool. But
that's cool.
Have you ever played Shadowrun?
No, I've never played it, but if I could weigh in on something I know nothing about, I would assume that any game that you're getting ready to play, no matter what it is in a tabletop role-playing situation, you can't really have a bad time if you just focus on communicating to your players what you're trying to get out of it, what they're trying to get out of it, and you take a very relaxed approach and you just focus on enjoying yourself and not worrying too much. I think no matter the system, you'll have an amazing time.
Yeah, and also just your players probably already know this, but just being open and transparent about, hey guys, it's my first time. I don't know everything. I'm going to do the best I can, and we're going to just kind of stumble through this together. And if you just have a humble, open attitude, you know what I mean, then people are usually accepting and being like, it's our first time. He doesn't really know it. We're going to learn it together, and it'll be a better experience. So yeah, just take it easy, and you'll learn it, and you guys will have fun. So
yeah.
All right. How is? Oh, I have a player playing a shepherd druid. I don't even know what that is.
It's the summoner druids. They're good.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I'm rarely a player.
No, that's cool.
He always casts conjure animals and bogs the battle map, and turns take forever to play. How would you handle this spell? All right.
Yeah. Conjure animals. I think it made it onto a list I made once of the most powerful spells in the game, and I think it's also maybe the most problematic spell.
Mm-hmm.
It is poorly designed because it is extremely powerful, and it really does slow the game down. I run monthly games on Patreon. My rule for any summoning spell is you have to roll it at the highest level. So Conjure Animals, the correct power gamey thing to do is to always summon the lowest CR creature possible.
Yep.
So you always want to go for 8 wolves or 8 giant owls, because action economy is worth so much more than having 1 CR2 polar bear.
Yep.
So what I say is like, I think there's a couple of ways to do it. First way is to say, look, this is a badly designed spell. It's not your fault that they printed a badly designed spell. It's not the player's fault. They're just doing something cool. And the shepherd is built around using that spell. So they're doing everything right. But really, the game mechanics have let you down as a player. And this spell is not good for the gameplay experience. So what I'd say is either say, you have to summon something at the highest level. So you have to pick a CR2 creature. You have to go with a polar bear. For example, I think that's the go-to CR2 option from memory. Or what I personally prefer to do is say, okay, you summon 8 wolves, for example, but you only control 2 wolves. You control 2 wolves at the end of your turn. Then at the end of the next player's turn, they control 2 wolves. And you split control over the horde among all the players. So everyone, at the end of everyone's turn, they control, assuming you've got 4 players, they control 2 animals. And that way, no one's turn lasts forever, and everyone gets to play with the summons. That way you still get the full power, but you don't have one person who's got, okay, I've got 8 wolves, 2 of them are going to go over here, they're going to make attack rolls at advantage. 2 of them, like, we're talking turns that could last 40 minutes on one turn.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach Conjure Animals, but unfortunately, it's one of those areas where the spell is just badly designed. And you're going to have to, there's going to have to be some compromise, because it sounds like you're not enjoying DMing right now for that spell, and your job as a DM is to make sure everyone's having fun, including you. So something has to change there. So that would be my recommendation. Either limit it to 1 creature only, or split control of the summon so everyone controls some. And then everyone gets to play, and no one person's turn is too long.
Yeah, my personal approach is exactly your first one. Limit the amount of summons. You say you only can do the highest level one. My house rule is you can have 1 summon. That's it. Now, if you want to pick the CR 1/8 summon, that's fine. If you want that pixie, that's fine. But
but you just get one of them.
You get one of them. That's it. 1. So either way you slice it. Now that means a lot of times the player is going to pick the highest CR because it's a lot of times the best option. But I limit it to 1 summon. It might be 2 summons. I'd have to go look at my house rule doc, but it's 1 or 2 so that things don't bog down. But that's interesting about splitting it among players. At least that way the turns aren't that long, and presumably if each player is controlling a couple, hopefully they're thinking in advance about what they're going to do, and they can be quicker about it. So
D&D is such a slow game that anything, my whole DM philosophy is make sure that I get out the way as much as possible, and that everyone can make their turns as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And I think that's the best way to do it. But I agree. Difficult spell for sure. Maybe one of the most challenging spells is for a DM to play.
I think that you mentioned D&D being a slow game, and it's interesting because anytime you make a video or something about how to speed up combat, if you look at the videos that are out there about speeding up combat, they always have tons of views on them. It's like because that's the most problematic thing. Everybody's like, how do I make combat faster?
I need to make one, honestly, because I've got my own ways too. Like everyone's got a system. I completely agree. I'm not like D&D. I love D&D, but it's very slow.
Yeah,
it's brutally slow, especially with players not knowing what they're doing, which is fine. You've got to learn. But anything that my philosophy as a DM is literally keep the game going as fast as possible. To the point, and I've got some pretty radical ideas. Like if it's clear the players are going to win a combat, I will usually say, do you want to skip ahead to win it? If they've killed the boss and there's like 10 minions running around, I'll literally say, you guys clean these up. Do you want to role play that rather than rolling it? And stuff like anything to get the game going. Because the truth is that combat should be the most exciting part, but actually, for 80% of combat, if there's 5 players, 80% of the combat you're doing nothing.
Yes.
So obviously it's the most boring part. Whereas in role play, you're 100% engaged all the time. So yeah. Just insight there.
You touched on the reason that I don't like being a player, because when I am a player, 80% of the time I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting there waiting, listening to other people. Whether it's in combat or not combat, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything. But when I'm a game master, I'm always doing something.
Always
My
playing.
game is I'm always playing, always. So I'm a player in games, and I get bored out of my mind sometimes. And I was in this one game, and I'm at my computer, it's a remote game, and so I got one screen, I'm working on stuff while they're all playing and doing stuff because it's not my turn, and I'm just really bored. So, and that's probably not good on my end. I probably should pay attention, but it's
I think that's something that's much worse on online play. Where in real life play, when there's pizza, drinks, crisps, you can have 2 people talking over here on the table, and then 2 people having a different conversation in role play together, and you kind of have these groups, and it almost literally feels like you're at the tavern chatting, and the DM's kind of the DM's having a conversation with this person, but you role playing with this character, and it's sort of everyone can do stuff at once. Whereas on Discord, we're talking over each other as hell. And you don't know when someone else is about to talk. You lose that. That's probably the biggest loss from online play, is that sense that multiple things can be happening at once. The online just can't support that.
No, and there's also
it's better live, but I completely agree. I think it's totally fine to maybe have a sketchbook. I sometimes do a bit of drawing when I'm playing D&D, on the side. I'll kind of sketch something just for fun. It's not my turn, I'm listening, but I'm I'm chatting in, but I think maybe playing another game might be a bit much. I've known other people be screwing around on the Switch on the side, playing a bit of Pokemon and stuff like that. But that might be, you will lose something by doing that. I understand why they do it. I've had friends say, I sort of play. If it works for you, it works, I guess. But
I was listening to a stream once where the person said that, a role-playing game, a tabletop role-playing game, is basically 30 minutes of fun expanded over 4 hours. And I was like, there's some truth to that statement. It depends on the game you're in, but there could be some truth. Now, about the idea you had about playing in person, the other thing that I noticed about playing in person too is the atmosphere and the feel is so much more energetic and energized. Think about you're in the UK, so you probably watch soccer, football, where you kick the ball around, right?
Exactly.
So now,
there's a difference.
Imagine watching a soccer game on TV and being in the stadium, right? That feel of being in the stadium. I experienced the same thing with baseball. I cannot watch baseball on TV, but if I go to a baseball stadium, dude, I can sit there and watch it and I'm perfectly fine because there's this atmosphere to it. You know what I mean? It just feels different, so that's another 100%. Difference I've found with in-person D&D games. It's just there's an atmosphere of excitement when you're in person with people playing the game as opposed to being on Zoom and stuff like that. So
totally.
All right, another super chat. Anthony, thank you for $5. Anthony says, I believe you said several weeks ago that you will be trying Pathfinder 2nd Edition. If so, looking forward to your future takes on Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Thanks, dude. I will be playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I'm going to be running it for my in-person group, and then my teammate Zach, he is running a Pathfinder game for a lot of us on the team as well. And so we're going to be playing that. And then I'm sure that the thing is that when I start doing something, it usually finds a way to work itself out into the other things I do, such as videos and stuff. So I'll probably talk about it, but my core content is always going to be focused on helping game masters and stuff. So we'll see where that goes. But what is the best way to deal with a player spam cantripping healing during traps or puzzles? I'm not sure.
Unless you're an auto gnome or you've unless you're an auto gnome or you've homebrewed a spell, there is no healing cantrip.
Yeah.
So there should be a resource cost to healing. Auto gnomes can heal themselves with the mending spell. So if they're using their character to kind of fulfill that niche, I wouldn't stop that. If you mean they're spamming like low level spells, like healing word every turn to get through traps, I would personally, I'd be inclined to let them because they're burning resources to do that. So exactly. I don't think that's a problem.
Right. I agree. I think there was a homebrew. Somebody shared me once a homebrew cantrip on D&D Beyond or something that allowed you to heal. And I was like, oh, immediately, I would never allow a cantrip that can heal. It's just like, that's not going to happen. You know?
No, yeah, but you got to remember that if there's a cantrip, that even if it only heals for 1 hit point, if it's a cantrip, it heals for infinite hit points.
Exactly.
Because then you can do it forever. So there can't ever be a healing cantrip, and mending is the only one. It's only for 1 race. It requires them to expend a hit dice, so they still can't do it forever.
Oh, okay. So there's a cost to it. Yeah.
And it takes a minute to cast, so you can't even do it in combat. So even when they explore that space, it's got all these conditions.
Then that makes sense, because otherwise it'd be crazy and broken and stuff.
But if your players are doing that a lot, maybe it's a sign that you should throw some combat after the traps, maybe, to tax some of their resources. So if they use all their resources on healing, they'll have less for the combat, and vice versa. Yeah. But never feel bad that your players succeed. I understand that some dungeon masters take a lot of pride in really challenging their players and stuff, but to my philosophy, you will have a better time as a DM if you let go of all ego about making the game difficult. You can make it difficult, you can kind of adjust as you go to make it more or less difficult, but if your players do something easily, and they're having a great time, that's wonderful. You don't need to make your traps really lethal or difficult, because the truth is that usually when D&D gets more difficult, it gets more boring, because people have to really slow down. And that, again, we get to that point of taking it slow. If you've got these deadly traps where if you make a mistake, you die, your players are going to be so cautious that they'll be running checks every 2 seconds, and it actually gets really slow. Yeah. I'd much rather have, okay, there's a trap, boom, it happens. You take 4 hit points. Oh no, okay, keep moving. That's my opinion.
You have to modulate the difficulty, right? There should be easy stuff, medium stuff, and then challenging stuff, But if you don't have that modulation and everything is just really hard, and then it becomes a slog and it becomes all high tension, and it can become not so fun, And I think that from a game master's standpoint, when even if you are running a challenging game, you still want your players to win, you
always have to have your This is the I see a lot of Reddit threads where it's kind of clear that the DM doesn't want their players to win, or they have some kind of angle where they want their players to suffer. They want it to be really brutal. And these people get cheered, and I think that's because people are like, yeah, that's how D&D should be. And I think from a outsider's perspective, it's much more exciting. You imagine that if your players really struggle and then they just barely succeed every time, that's way more exciting as a narrative. But as a play experience, I find that, having been in those kind of games, I find it less fun, less stimulating, personally. But again, that's my opinion. That's just my opinion, man.
And everybody's gonna enjoy different things, Like I as a player like the challenging stuff, and I like it when my character dies, like it makes me feel like this actually mattered, like this combat wasn't guaranteed, and now my character died, and now I can make a new one, and it's exciting, when I am an actual player, so I enjoy that, but not everybody's but at the same point, you can't have everything be really hard necessarily either, because then it gets old. It really does depend on the play.
I mean, this is the problem with all DM advice, right? Every DM advice you're ever going to get, it has to be general, but really the truth is that being a DM is not actually anything to do with the rules. The better DM you are, is the better you can read a room. Can you imagine a video game where there were electrodes plugged into your brain, and every single second of the game, it was reading your mind and adjusting the difficulty to create the most engaging experience possible?
Right.
That would be obviously horribly invasive, but it would be the best game ever.
Yeah.
You know, it will constantly be shifting, like you're playing God of War, and every moment is shifting around you to cultivate the optimal experience. That is the power that a DM has.
Right.
That's why D&D and role-playing games are better than video games, because it can change every second. So you need to always be looking at your players and focusing on what are they enjoying? Are they engaged? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And that's like the power of DM. So if you can cultivate that, but that's a social skill. That's not something you can learn from a YouTube video, unfortunately.
Right.
That's something you have to learn by talking to people. You know, doing all the stuff that we hate doing. You know, interacting with human beings.
I like that.
I
love that crap, man.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, it's more intimidating. Than it is. It would be great if you could read the rule book and you'd be the best DM ever. But the truth is that the best DM ever is the person who's the best at identifying how the players are feeling and changing as a result.
Yeah, those are the soft skills. In the business world, we'd call those soft skills, right? And not only is it when you're reading the room too, when you see the player that looks like they're not enjoying themselves and they're not having fun, then it's like, oh, this person, what's going on over here? How can I get them re-engaged? Or this person seems to not be paying attention, or they're maybe on their phone. Oh, wait a second, this guy's been talking the whole time. They're probably like, why am I not able to play this game? Oh, I need to, okay, hey, what would you like to do? It's being able to like gauge that and then take appropriate actions to loop people in and make sure we're all enjoying the game. You know, and if they're enjoying it, you double down a little bit. If somebody's not enjoying it, then you see what's going on. And it's like, okay, I put a puzzle out here. Okay, 2 players were all invested in this puzzle, solving it. The other 3 were kind of like, whatever. Okay, well, that tells me they don't like puzzles. Okay, cool. They do like puzzles. So I'm gonna have some puzzles in my game, but not too many because it doesn't appeal to everybody. Now, if nobody wanted to solve that puzzle and they're all just like, oh my gosh, well, then I know that my group doesn't like puzzles. Okay, maybe I don't make any puzzles. Right? And so that's the value, like you were saying, of like viewing people, seeing their reactions, seeing what they're doing, and then adjusting things on the fly or in your game prep for your next game session so that you can improve the game and make it even better, you know, on the next go around. So yeah, it's really good stuff. All right, I'm gonna do we did have a couple tips people gave to our charity One More Child.
Hey,
yeah,
awesome.
We had Rachel Fields, $10 tip. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel is with us in like almost every single stream the whole stinking time. So thank you,
That's
Rachel.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then we have the Dungeon Coach is in the house and gave $100 to
One
More
a
Child.
Legend.
Yeah, dude.
Unstoppable. Yeah, everyone go subscribe to the Dungeon Coach, man.
Yes. Go subscribe, Dungeon Coach.
Love Dungeon Coach stuff.
I do
TikTok and YouTube.
I do want to say this, the Dungeon Coach is very purple. Like if you go over to his channel, like everything's purple. But once you get past the purple, he's a great guy. So Will
also makes great gaming supplemental content as well. He's not only a YouTuber. I mean, no one's only a YouTuber anymore, but Dungeon Coach has some great books and stuff on his website too.
I have one of his books, Alchemedier's Almanac or something on my bookcase over there. By the way, for awareness, for Will and for people listening, Dungeon Coach and I are like really tight friends. Like we talk all the time and we're super close. So like when I like rib him, like I just did about the purple, it's because we're buddies.
Yeah, you know him well enough to really, you know his vulnerabilities, his insecurities. You can really exploit that.
Yeah, he's super insecure about purple. Let me tell you.
Yeah, dude. So you really got to kick him when he's down.
Yeah. So awesome, cool. I think that was all the tips that we got for our charity. So if anybody else wants to contribute, we are raising money for One More Child. They are a charity that helps single mothers, they help foster kids, they help kids that are looking for adoption, they help trafficking, like human trafficking, slave trafficking, not slave trafficking, sex trafficking and stuff like that. I mean, I suppose you could say that's kind of like slavery, but anyway, they help with all of those sorts of things. So if you want to help support One More Child, all tips will go 100% to them. Our goal is to get up to $500, and we are at $195 right now. So that is super cool. Once we hit 500, we'll give them a big donation, and then we'll move on to a different charity. This is one of the things I do in my streams, Will, is that we always have a charity that we're trying to raise money for. You
kind of build it up and then
Yep,
it's
and
wonderful.
And then once we hit our goal, we give the donation, and then we have a new charity. So yeah.
And this is a YouTube run, like it's using the YouTube system, isn't it? Like people donate through YouTube.
When I run my charities, the way that I do it is I just have people tip directly to me, and then I keep then I keep track of it, and then I just give the money to the charity. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, because when I get the tipping system takes like maybe 3% of a transaction fee, but most of the tip money goes directly to me. That way I can make sure that the charity gets the full amount, as opposed to like, I don't know, I think YouTube's system actually doesn't take anything.
I only asked, YouTube will, if it's an official YouTube, I don't know if you can do it on live streams though, that's the problem, but
okay.
if you have a charity under your video, just like as a general promotion, YouTube actually cover the transaction fees, which is very cool. So donating on YouTube is a nice way to do it.
Yeah. I personally cover the transaction fees for mine, the reason that I don't use the YouTube thing is that I have very specific charities that I want to donate to, and there's a lot of them probably aren't on there. Like One More Child is probably not on there.
It's giant charities tend to it's completely true.
Yeah, I think one of the next ones, my wife has been telling me, there's this homeless shelter near our house, and she's like, the next charity, you need to raise money for those guys. So I want to make sure that I'm able to raise for the charity that I want to support, but
exactly. Anyway. That local charity is really important as well.
Okay, cool. I want to shift over to talking about Critical Role's new RPG system that they must be in the works designing. I remember when, I think, who was it? Was it Linda who was interviewing Critical Role?
Linda Koge definitely did an interview with them.
And she asked them about a new game system, if they were working on something, and they didn't answer the question. But was it Bob? I think Bob Worldbuilder was doing a breakdown on that interview, and he showed their like expressions where like Matt Mercer was kind of like making this like expression in a certain way, and then Marisha jumped in and kind of like answered the question, So it seems like she said something along the lines of, if we were ever to have the right opportunity with the right people to develop our game system or something, you know what I mean? It was something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, you can trust, if there's one thing you can trust is that Linda Kodega, they will get to the heart of the story. They're the best. That's a good question to ask, I think. I haven't seen the interview, but just, speculatively here, Critical Role are so big that honestly, it feels like leaving money on the table not to make their own system, right? Like Matt's a great world builder. His stuff he's done with D&D, like some of the classes and stuff are interesting. I'm certain he has the chops with, and they hire the best people. Like he works with amazing creators too. Like he doesn't do it all himself. So I'm certain that they could if they wanted to, and because it's a load of money. And the time now's the time, if any. I reckon it's coming. Like,
it's got to be coming.
Why would it not?
You have people that are upset with the giant in the industry. Critical Role has an insanely huge fan base. If they put out their own game system, can you imagine how many people are going to like get it? First of all, not just buy it, but also shift over to playing it. You know what I mean?
They would definitely. I would guess if they were going to release it. This is just, they'd release it alongside Campaign 4.
When does that start?
They'll wrap, I don't know, they're in Campaign 3 now.
3, okay.
So they're only like, they'll go to level 20. I don't know what level they are right now. Okay. I'm not caught up at all.
I can't.
But I reckon they might be around level 8, 9-ish. Someone in chat will know.
Okay.
I reckon if I was them, I would say, okay, we're going to finish Campaign 3 with 5e. We know 6e or 1 D&D is coming out next. Let's not screw with that. We'll just make our own, and then they'll play, Campaign 4 with their own rules. Is what I would do if I were them. And then everyone who watches that would be like, "This is so fun," because Critical Role, they're the masters of making it fun. Same with Dimension 20. They're the masters of making it fun to play.
Yeah.
So and people will see it. They'll look. That looks like they're having a great time. Let's buy their book.
Go buy it.
And it might. I don't know if it would kill D&D at all, but I think it would earn them a load of money, and I think it would be wonderful to see an alternative of D&D because Critical Role have so much more currency with the community. You know, they're not a $150 million company like D&D is, but you know, between us, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Critical Role were a $50 million a year company.
Dude,
I don't know.
They're making some cash, man.
There's they're the biggest Twitch channel on their own, so they're bringing in.
Yeah.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Critical. I don't know. This is pure guesswork here, but I wouldn't be surprised if between all their merchandise, all their sponsorships, you know, I think that their sponsorship prices are wild. I mean, last I heard, and this was a couple of years ago, but last I heard, it was about 60 grand to get on.
It's more than that, because my team and I recently inquired because we were considering a spot for an upcoming Kickstarter, and it's more than that. I don't remember.
Is it gone up now?
I don't remember the exact number offhand, because there were two prices. One was if you have Sam do like his little special stuff that he does, it was like a big number. But if you have Matt Mercer do a little reading, it was less. Ironically, for whatever reason, because like, well, I guess from my point of view, as somebody who makes game master content, I would want Matt Mercer to do my bit.
Yeah.
But Sam's, they're just I don't watch Critical Role, but I've seen some of his ad spots. That tells you something, you know.
Yeah, of course. I think. I mean, I don't know if Critical Role is a bigger business than D&D is within Wizards of the Coast. I doubt it, but they're very close.
Right.
They're bigger than Paizo, for example. So I reckon they would. I reckon if they did it, it would be enough to make D&D as a company pause. And it maybe they could take D&D down. I don't know. Yeah. They might actually be that big because everyone loves Critical Role. Yes. It's not like Wizards of the Coast where people play D&D but they don't like the company.
Yes,
people adore Critical Role.
That's a great point. Yes.
It's like you're not playing. A lot of people play D&D kind of inspired. This is definitely the case with Magic the Gathering, where all the Magic the Gathering players, none of them like what Wizards of the Coast are doing. None of them like the aggressive monetization that's coming through.
They all complain about it. They all complain about it, but they keep buying the cards.
They keep buying it. But can you imagine if an alternative company that was like Critical Role size, they make a game which is maybe even better, maybe better balanced. They're playing it on the biggest stream on Twitch every week, and people love them, and you want to support them.
Yes.
I think they could. You know, in a decade's time, we might be talking about D&D might be the next, like they might be in the Pathfinder position, and Critical Role's company might be. Yeah. That is how much currency with the community Critical Role. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a running meme in D&D creator circles. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it, where it's like, you know, like whatever you do, don't annoy the Critical Role fans.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they are passionate people.
Yes.
The Critical Role have this phenomenal capability that you watch the show and you feel like you're at the table.
Yeah.
Like people they don't know Matt Mercer, obviously. Yeah. But you feel like you know him as a person. And I think that's why Critical Role is so. They're so good at monetizing their audiences, because you feel like you're their friends. You feel like you're laughing along with the table. You feel like you're sat right there. Yes. And of course you'd support your best friend's game system, right?
Yes. I feel
I've talked myself into it. If they launched it, I genuinely think it has the potential to literally replace D&D.
Dude,
it might take a few years, but they've got that level of fan base.
I'll tell you what, I would buy it just because I would be supporting them and hoping that it hurts WotC. I feel like right now, like there's so much bad will and toward WotC and what they did, and people who are disgruntled with them as a company, that right now is the time to launch the game system if you want to grab some people and help it grow and get successful. And I feel like you have Critical Role who must be developing their own, and probably, I agree with you, it'll come out with season 4. That'll be the thing. And then every time they stream and they play their game, it's their system, more people are energized and excited about it, and they're going off and beginning to play it themselves, you know, and that's more people that are playing their game system instead of Wizards, you know, in D&D. And then you have MCDM, Matt Colville, and his team who are making their own game system, you know, and he's prolific, and he has a massive following as well of people that are very dedicated as well. And so you know that he's going to draw a whole bunch of people to his system who are going to buy and play his system. You have Black Flag coming out with Cobalt Press. You know, obviously you already have Pathfinder 2, which is getting bigger. Like they sold 8 months or something out of their warehouse.
Yeah,
it's
in
gone.
like 2 weeks. Yeah,
it's gone. You know, so you know that it's like now is the time. And so I feel like when you have Critical Role, MCDM, Cobalt Press's Black Flag, and Paizo that already exists and is doing their thing, like I feel like the future probably is not looking good for D&D as a brand and probably Wizards as a company. I feel like there's going to be some rough days ahead, you know, because if the competition steps up, for sure. Yeah, they primed the market to go with the competition is what they did. They literally primed the market to go against them and to buy other people's stuff, and that was a horrible business move. I don't think they intended that. It was an unintended consequence, but that's what they essentially de facto did. And now you have people that are upset with them and want to buy other products. And then as people come out with them, especially when they're influential people that are awesome, like Critical Role, MCDM, and Cobalt Press, people are just going to be like, yeah, let's go, take my money. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and also like going back to a previous discussion, like you say you'd buy it as a creator, but Critical Role are one of those channels who do interact with other creators. Like we were saying, Wizards of the Coast are very cold to creators, whereas Critical Role are working with they do loads of stuff with Brennan, Lee Mulligan, right, and the Dimension 20. They've done stuff with Ginny D. They've done stuff with Matt Colville. You meet them. I've never been to a convention, but I've never met them. But I know from other creators who've met them at conventions that they take an active interest and they want to support other creators. You know, they'd have everyone on their side already. I could totally see it. Yeah, I mean, it might be a bit dramatic to say Critical Role will kill D&D, but considering that they've saved D&D already, like let's not beat around the bush here. The success of D&D is down to Critical Role. As much as it is down to Stranger Things more. I mean, I didn't know Critical Role before I started playing the game, but the people who got me into the game, they knew Critical Role. Right. So by whether you know Critical Role, whether you like Critical Role or not, chances are one or two people removed, it comes back to them. It comes back to someone watching that stream back in the day. So yeah. I'm hyped for it, honestly. I think the next 10 years will be interesting. We'll see how the movie does. We'll see. The movie needs to be good. The movie needs to be independently good, which is possible. But much more importantly, the movie needs to be good in a way that makes people want to play the game. I could totally see a situation where the movie does great, it makes a load of money, and it doesn't convert to players. You know, people are like, oh, that was a good film. And then they don't play the game. I think Wizards are banking on people playing the game. They like the movie, so they go and buy the books. There's a good chance that even if the movie's good, they don't. So we'll see.
They're
banking a lot on the film.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. That actually segues into something else I wanted to talk about. I'm going to play a little sleazy plug and then we're going to get to that.
Hi there. You probably already know what I'm going to say, but if you don't, that's okay. I literally get paid to do this stuff, so I don't mind repeating myself. Anyway, if you're a busy person and you would like to spend less time prepping for your D&D games, you should really become a DM Lair patron and get a new issue of Lair magazine every month. It contains 5th edition and resources designed by our team of mad scientists to brainwash your players into thinking you're the very best dungeon master in the entire world. So just go on ahead and click that big shiny link below and become a DM Lair patron today. Don't worry, your players will never even know that you're cheating.
Okay, so you were talking about, does the movie convert to people that play the game or not being a critical thing? And I feel like one of the biggest impediments that prevents people from playing the game is the lack of game masters willing to run the game, right? Because if you have a bunch of players who want to play, but there's no game master that's running the game, there is no game, right? And so I feel like there's been some talk around the places about, like, you know, is there going to be some sort of AI game master or dungeon master on like D&D Beyond and stuff like that, you know? And
I can actually, I'll pull up while we talk. I'm going to pull up the email where I was told all about this.
Oh, interesting. Cool. So like the way I was looking at it, like, and Wizards obviously has denied it and they're saying they're not going to do it. And whether you can have an AI game master or whether it's just kind of like a game master who they hire voice actors who like do the read aloud text and do the narration and stuff, and it's more like a choose your own adventure type thing, because you could put a module up there that doesn't need a game master perhaps, and people can play through it or something, you know. I don't think it would be an actual real game master type thing, but it might be try to simulate the experience. But it seems like however they do it is not the point. My point is that if I'm Wizards of the Coast and I'm sitting in their seat and I know that there are more players than there are enough game masters, I know that one of the biggest impediments for me to get people's money, right, from the players is that I can't get their money if they can't play the game. And they can't play the game if there isn't a game master. And so the number of game masters we have is the limit. That's the barrier that stops me from getting people's money out of their wallets, right?
Yeah.
So I need to get rid of game masters, or I need to have a mechanism so that people who can't find a game master can still play the game, can still give us money. And obviously I'm talking about this simply from a how do we get money standpoint, but that's how executives think, right? How can we get people's money? And so if I know that the number of game masters limits the amount that I can monetize the brand, I have to get past that obstacle, you know? So that just seems logical to me that they would be considering that. You know what I mean? All right, what do you got over there?
Okay, I'm just gonna. I'll read out. This is what I've been told by someone currently working at Wizards of the Coast. When you look at Wizards' desire to plus up D&D Beyond, in addition to digital books and tabletop tools, think of D&D Beyond becoming much more interactive as a 3D virtual tabletop, which is something we have been working on in-house for a while now. The end goal is to have players access D&D Beyond's books and tabletop tools, along with a new 3D virtual tabletop that offers stuff for purchase. So that's the microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
Think tile sets, virtual miniatures, apparel, armor, weapons, and spell customizations. In addition to cosmetics and customizations that have tailor-made adventures designed for the new virtual tabletop, so I think that's what they're trying to do, make it easy, that have, okay, and this is the important bit, scenario or encounter-based DM assistance, likely what's been referred to in other leaks as AI DMs. So this is from the horse's mouth.
Right.
They are not, people called it AI DMs. I think it was Hoss, Dungeon Scribe, called it an AI DM, and he was correct. It's AI assisted DMing. I think people imagine when they hear AI DMs something like the old text adventure game Zork, you know, where you go into a dungeon, what do you do? And you type in, I attack the troll, like from the 80s. Whereas what it seems like to me, hearing from the Sandcastle team, is they're going much more for the DM assisted tools in the VTT space might do things like roll the dice for you and move the monsters for you and potentially calculate damage for you, which might, you don't want to, I don't want to crap on it just because it's an idea. That might be a good thing. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I definitely agree that they've identified that they need more people playing, which means they need more DMs, and they want to make DMing as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to charge you just to play this. This is the whole thing where if you want access to these tailor-made adventure monthly drops and stuff, that's the thing that's going to cost you $30 a month.
Right.
So you got to pay for it. But yeah, the AI DM thing, from what I've heard, which is not everything, I'm not in contact with everyone in the company, but from what I've heard, it's more about AI assisted DMing, not literally replacing a DM altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, and that would definitely make things easier for a game master. And ideally, they would be able to choose which parts of that assistance they want to, Yeah.
I mean, someone shared the whole design goals of one D&D with me at one point, and one of them was they want players to be able to log on and play on their own. So they want it so you can click on the thing and play a game of D&D even if you're just one person. So that presumably that would mean that would mean the computer would have to handle everything. At that point, it sounds basically like Baldur's Gate. You're basically offering Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely think you're right on the money with they need to monetize everyone, not just DMs.
Yeah.
And which means they need to get more people playing any way they can, and that might mean giving a way to play without DMs, which means AI DMs, or making DMing really easy, which means that you have these AI assisted tools.
Yeah, I feel like I know all of this stuff could be an improvement to game masters and stuff, but I feel like they tend to overlook some of the very simple ways to make game mastering easier, which is to improve your game design in certain respects. You know, like if you look at the challenge rating system and being able to balance encounters and this sort of thing, you know, like things just don't work very well, you know. And one of the biggest dungeon master frustrations that I hear people talk about, and they'll talk to me on live streams and leave comments and stuff, is that they're super frustrated that when they design an encounter that's supposed to be easy, it turns out to be super hard for their group. Or if they're playing a level 18 adventure and it's supposed to be a hard encounter, but it's crazy easy and gets cakewalked because the characters are so powerful and the game design is so weak that like the game only works between levels 3 and 10, let's say. And outside of that, it all breaks and falls apart. And so that makes it super frustrating for game masters, you know? And so I feel like there are other elements that are simply like design the game a little bit better, have a better quality game so that things work, you know? And when you release new character options, have them be balanced with other character options so that you don't have wildly powerful things that are going to break things and then make encounter design go off. So I feel like they're overlooking that too as a way to make it easier for game masters, you know.
And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where the real talent of a great DM is to read the room. Mm-hmm. And an AI DM can't do that. My dog's just
I just saw the door open. That's the dog.
Yeah, you just see the door open on its own. You can't do that with an AI DM, right? If you're playing alone, the AI DM can't. It doesn't have the electrodes plugged into your brain, so that part of the magic will always be lost without when you remove the human elements to a role-playing game. It's just going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't want to dunk on the idea before it happens. But I think obviously. You know, I mean, this is a digital marketplace. The point is to get people in and slam them with microtransactions.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get too excited, but I think it'd be disingenuous to assume that everything to do with one D&D is going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. Just because we don't like some of the design so far.
Right.
I think the idea of an AI-assisted DM experience through a VTT might be quite cool. Mm-hmm. We'll have to see it. But I don't think you can ever really replace. I think the idea that you could use AI to get people playing D&D on their own kind of shows that the executives in charge of the design goals of Sandcastle, which is the D&D department responsible for the VTT, might not be fully. It kind of shows that they don't play D&D. That seems like the design goal of someone who looks at the numbers and they're like, oh, well, people want to play D&D, but they can't. Let's make it so they can play on their own.
Right.
And it's like, well, you have to kind of change what D&D is to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
But it's interesting because I've been playing on Foundry VTT more, and they have a lot of things that are automated modules that'll help you do a whole bunch of stuff. And it's approaching this idea of like AI assistance, you know, for game masters, where they make little things easier here and there, you know. So I can definitely see that might be a direction they're going. I could also see that if Wizards is if they're behind the curve on developing their own VTT, and Foundry has such a head start on them, you know, I can imagine that they're probably a little threatened by the fact that they have a huge head start.
Oh yeah, well they tried to take them down, didn't they? I mean, that was another crazy. Not to go back, but that was another crazy lie that came out in the one D&D, the talks Kyle Brink did.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. He said, it was never the intention. It would I think it was never the intention to limit other VTTs. That was never the intention. So we never saw them as competition. But literally in the document that you all can go and read right now, it says right at the top, the OGL was never intended to support competition in the VTT space. They literally say it in the document. It's like, that's one that I was like, I can't believe he said that because that's so demonstrably not true. Yep. I think that's exactly why I think they do feel very threatened. They've invested hundreds of millions into acquiring D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond had their own VTT they were working on under Fandom, who used to own D&D Beyond. They had their own VTT that was stopped. Like, nope, don't do that. We're buying you and we're going to do our own.
Yeah.
Which is also a bit crazy. I remember talking to a few people about that. I was like, is that really true? I mean, they didn't work on the DnD team at the time, but they were like, yeah, no. They I mean, I guess it makes sense. They wanted to do their own. They didn't want to use the one that D&D Beyond were making, the fandom were making. But yeah, yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I think they have to. Yeah, that was their idea. Stop everyone else doing it.
Yeah,
because we want to do it. Even if our one takes 3 years.
Well, dude, if you look at the heart of the OGL that they tried to push through, like if you boil it all down, it's all about stopping competition. The whole thing is about stopping competition. It's about stopping me from, if I make over a certain amount, from being able to grow my business beyond that, because I have to give them 50% off the top. That kills you. Like if you have to give 50% off the top, you can never grow beyond whatever cap they put on that. You can't grow, you're done. So it kills.
We talked about it earlier that Kickstarters are not profitable by like more than 20%. Even they're not profitable. You make a $3 million Kickstarter, you're not walking away with like $1.5 million. No, that 20% Wizards would take would be all your profit.
You're done. They take all your profits. You're done. Yeah. So like that would kill people doing Kickstarters, kill people just making books, and then. You know, obviously they had clauses in there that would kill VTTs. And so if you boil down the OGL, it was literally about stopping their competition. The whole thing was about stopping all competition in its tracks, you know? And so when they say that was never their goal, like it's just, not only is it demonstrably false because of their own documents, like you're saying, but if you look at their goal, it was literally about stopping competition. You know, and I'm in this game right now with some other YouTubers playing Pathfinder 2, and we're in Foundry VTT, and we'll make a joke every so often. Every time there's like a special effect, like an animated spell effect, we'll joke and be like, "Hey, that's not legal. You can't do that." And then the rules lawyer will be like, "Well, that didn't actually. They weren't able to get that through. We won, remember?" So, but yeah, we'll just joke about they were trying to kill that. You know,
it's completely true. I mean, it's tied directly to their monetization element, right? We've been told. I've been told, and I guess through me, you guys have been told, but the big areas they want to charge you for those spell effects. Yeah, that's the point. They want you to have to pay to get a cool fireball effect when you cast fireball. That's going to cost you 99 cents. So obviously they don't want other VTTs doing that for free.
Not only for free, dude, but you pay $50 for a lifelong ability to use Foundry VTT. It's a one-time charge. That's it. It's not $30 a month. It's $50 done, bought, done. You know, and so that's like crazy. It's an awesome. Like I just started playing on Foundry VTT not too long ago, but my first impressions are, holy crap, this is amazing. You know, it's really, really good and well done, and like the interface and stuff, it's really cool. You know, and it's not that expensive. You know, you can self-host it if you want on your own computer, or you can pay for hosting if you want and stuff. But it's just really well done, and it's not that expensive. And so Wizards had to have seen them as a crazy threat. You know.
Yeah, I mean, just full disclosure here, just to clarify, because you know, the $30 a month thing, that is for the most expensive tier, and that's the one where you also get ideally monthly drops of content.
Okay.
So they're giving you modules that you plug and play. So it's not, don't walk away thinking that like they're going to charge everyone $30 a month. That's not true. That's for the highest level of thing. I still think that's too much money, and maybe they'll have changed their mind with the kickback from this. But I did ask a lot of people, are they going to change their mind about the $30 thing? A lot of them said they literally can't. The whole model is based around this $30 top figure thing. So, but just so people are really clear, I'm not saying, and none of these employees are saying that $30 a month is what you'll have to pay. You will be able to get it for less. I don't know what the lowest tier is going to be, but the $30 tier gets you this plug and play content every month. Sorry, just to make sure that I'm representing correctly what I'm being told.
Absolutely. We do not want to make the same mistake of having people think something that's not true because we didn't adequately explain it or something.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's boring to say the same thing over and over again, but yeah, just so people know, $30 a month is the maximum they're looking at the moment. And of course it can all change.
Somebody in the chat
Hopefully it does.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said their biggest complaint about Foundry is that players can't hop in to do characters without the game master being logged in too. And Zach, that's because you're self-hosting it. If you get it hosted on Forge, which is like you pay them to host it, then people can go in when you're not there and they can do their own stuff. As long as you're not running another game. If you're in the midst of running a different game, then I think they can't get in. but otherwise they should be able to log in. So that's because you're self-hosting. That's my understanding, but I'm not an expert, so I'm just throwing that out there. So, all right, I got a super chat here. We're gonna hit that and maybe get some questions if we can. We're about to wrap up though, folks. So if you want to get in on our giveaway, this is your last call. You can win an RPG book. I'm giving away a copy of End of the Fae, which was my very first Kickstarter that I did. It's a level 1 to 5 adventure module featuring Fae, because it's called End of the Fae. Or you can get store credit on the DM Lair store as well. So hit that giveaway. There should be a link in the chat, and then we're going to draw that pretty soon. The super chat that we have here, $5. Thank you, Thea. I can't pronounce names. I'm sorry. But thank you for your $5 super chat. How do you transition from free playtests and paid sessions to asking players to pay for all playable content? Current setup has a lot of playtesting. I'm trying to find the context for that question.
So are they asking about how will D&D convince anyone to pay for anything if people are used to playing for free? I think that's what they mean.
Yeah, because right now
they're giving away these one D&D playtests for free.
Yep.
And they're giving away. You can play the game for free now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great point. They got their work cut out for them, right? They're gonna have to offer a system which is so good, which makes DMing so easy and that looks so much fun to play that people will pay to subscribe. I think it will be like D&D Beyond, where there'll be some free element, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I never asked about that. I probably should have, and that's something I should have asked. Will it ever be for free? I never did. But I'm guessing that they would do it by a similar model to D&D Beyond, where look, you can come on. I don't know. Maybe Foundry do this too, where you can use simple stuff for free, and then they get people using the system. I mean, honestly, if they make something good enough, people will pay for it, right?
Yep.
The problem is that their behavior has not made me think that they're going to make it. It looks like from their behavior, rather than try and make something good, they try to kneecap everyone else making stuff.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be a very hard sell. You're completely right. I kind of think D&D is free. And this is tough for me to even admit publicly, because I obviously sell D&D content on Patreon, right? And I think my content's awesome. And I know for a fact Luke's content's awesome. But at the end of the day, D&D is a free game, and people choose to buy your content because it's good.
Right.
So how are they going to convince people? They're going to have to make content that is so good that people think it's worth spending money every month. And can they do that? They've bet an awful lot of money that they can. Maybe they will be able to. I mean, they'll do big promotions and stuff. They'll pull in big names. They'll get, they might hire even Matt Mercer, or they might get Brennan or Abria to come on. You know, these people work with them. You know, they'll do what they can to promote it. They might offer it for free for a while, like they're doing with D&D Beyond. But it's up to the community whether you accept that. At the end of the day, we get the game we deserve, right? If we decide that it's worth it to feed them money, then they'll take it. If we make a stand and say this is too expensive, then they'll reevaluate, or they'll go on.
Yeah. No, you're right. If right now they're really putting out inferior products, in my opinion. But if we continue to buy them, then that really just reinforces that behavior. They're going to keep giving us garbage because we're willing to pay for garbage. But if we raise our standards and say, no, we're only going to buy quality products, then they're going to have no choice to give us quality products, or just not get our money, you know? So that's really, and that was something that came up a lot too during the whole OGL thing. There were some people that were saying, listen, you know, you don't have to get rid of all the competition and kill the competition. Just create good products. Start creating good products, and people will buy your products. That's the way to convince people. You don't have to backstab and kill other creators. You can just make good products, and people will buy them. You know, and that was a cry I heard a lot. You know, and it's totally true. You know, if they would just do that, then not only would they have good products that people would buy, but they would generate a whole lot more goodwill, you know, and happy feelings, you know, from people. And I feel like one of the things too that they really screwed up is like you were mentioning before, how Wizards never reached out to folks like us to talk to us ever. Well, not only did they never before reach out to us, but now they've just alienated a lot of us and made a lot of us very upset with them. And so now people like me are talking about Paizo and Pathfinder 2 and other game systems, you know, and stuff. And so now, I don't know. It's a mess over there. They're doing a lot of things that maybe they'll turn around and we'll see how things play out. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll take time to heal anyway. Like maybe in a year's time, if Wizards of the Coast reach out to me, and I feel like they have shown that they've really improved and they're trying to take the community seriously. I don't think they ever will, but if they did, it's not like I'd shut them down. I'd be interested in having that discussion. But for the moment, I'm not promoting any specific books. Like for example, in December, I spoke about the Dragonlance book, and I did an advert for the Dragonlance book. But now I'm not doing that anymore. Instead, I'm working with Roll20 on one bookshelf content, but it's going to be homebrew content exclusively. So it'll be stuff made by the community if I promote any books through that. I think a lot of creators are in that same boat where the content's better and we can support people we really like.
Yeah, that's
and people
cool.
who like us too, people who respect us. Don't try and backstab us.
There was only one time that Wizards ever reached out to me to promote one of their products, and it was the Strixhaven one, and that was a book that wasn't super well received, and I knew it wasn't being well received, and so I pretty much just turned down their offer. I've never heard from them again, So but
yeah,
other than
it's
that,
an unusual system. I mean, they got in contact with me once. I said in my video, you probably saw that they got in contact with me once, but they sent me Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh yes, I did. I do remember that.
And it was the craziest. It does feel like a very scattershot. And I'm really grateful. It was a good interaction. But they were like, "Here's some Fortnite cards. Don't talk about them before this date." They didn't give me any money or anything. They didn't say you have to talk about them at all. So I never actually did.
Yeah.
Because how on earth would I bring that up on the channel?
Yeah.
By the way, Wizards sent me some Fortnite cards. You should buy some yourself.
Doesn't make any sense.
So they've always had a wacky relationship with creators. It's crazy. Even huge creators like Tolarian Community College with nearly 1 million subscribers, or JoCat or Dingo Doodles. I don't think any of these million subscriber channels that have anything to do with them. It's fine.
Dude, it's crazy because it doesn't take that much. Like right now, I have some people that will send me free product and they don't expect me to do anything. But if you treat me nice and are nice to me, you never know. Like if somebody, like right now, like one of the things that I was sent for free with 0 strings attached was this book right here, Herbalist Primer by Anna Urbanek. And it's basically if you want to have herbalism and stuff, create potions from plants and lots of cool things, this right here is made for your RPG game. And I've been thumbing through it and it's really cool so far. Now they had no strings attached, they just sent it to me for kicks and I got it and I liked it. And now guess what I'm doing? I'm telling people about it. Just because you treated me nicely. That's all you had to do, Now a lot of people do pay for ad spots like they do on your channel and my channel. But sometimes all you gotta do is just reach out to people and treat them like nice human beings and be a nice human being, and then things go well for you.
And make a great product. Like if something's awesome and we're chatting if someone brings up something like, I need this solution to this problem, and I remember, I got a free book from Mage Hand Press one time that's like bang on the money for that.
There you go. Yep.
But yeah.
All right. Cool. We have 2 super chats. We're gonna fly through these in 1 minute, and then we're gonna get out of here because I know you got to get going. You got work to do and stuff.
Yeah, recording tonight.
Yep. Thela, $5 super chat. We got hers actually already, so we're done with that. Gambler Alex, $2 says general thoughts about the one D&D Paladin release. I have 0 thoughts because I do not read any one D&D stuff anymore. Do you have anything?
I thought the Paladin was less egregiously changed than the Druid. But I did think that the Paladin, and I've seen some online criticism of the Paladin, generally as... it's hard to articulate my thoughts in a really concise way. The main problem I have with 1D&D is it seems like they are trying to... There's a lot of... They're trying to instruct... To make the game simpler for beginners and stuff. They are making the classes less diverse within themselves. So Paladins get Find Greater Steed at level 5 now. All of them get that, which is basically a sign that's saying, yes, every Paladin should have a Greater Steed, obviously, rather than having the option to take Find Greater Steed. And there are some changes that kind of make sense, like Paladins can't crit on smites anymore. I kind of liked that, but now that's gone because it was a big power swing.
Yep.
But I didn't think the Paladin was awful, but I just thought it was a little less interesting. And maybe even a little more overpowered. Paladin's already a very strong class. Now Paladins can smite with ranged attacks, so you can just throw javelins and smite with them on a hit. So, sometimes I wonder if one D&D has to justify itself a little bit. You know, the paladins are one of the most popular classes. Apart from a few balancing tweaks around critical hits, they're basically done.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we've got to sell 3 new books, right? So we've got to change something.
Yep.
So they just changed. It feels like they changed some arbitrary things that no one's going to really care about, just to kind of justify the fact that they're. I don't know if that's true. That's just how it feels to me. I'm not having a go at the designers. That's just how it feels, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With the paladin changes, it felt a bit arbitrary. Got to change something. Got to justify selling a new book.
That's
Gotta
a really
get
good.
$60.
It's a really good point, because paladin is one of those classes from the core rulebook that I agree are really good. They're powerful. They're well-rounded. What's wrong with a paladin? You know what I mean? Like, why do you got to change anything? Whereas you could poke holes in other things, like ranger is the common one, you know. But paladin,
ranger and monk maybe.
Yeah,
could use
but
a little.
paladin, why change anything? It's pretty solid, just the way it is, you know. So I agree. That's a very interesting point. All right.
So yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I'll let you know. I'll let you round up. I was just gonna start rambling again.
Oh yeah. We're gonna wrap up here. The winner of the giveaway, by the way, is Renenscape. Renenscape, congratulations. I will be sending you an email. We will get you all hooked up. So I want to thank you, Will, for coming on. This has been awesome. Stay on with me after I stop the stream so we can do a quick wrap up. But thank you, sir.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it was an honor to be here. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks, chat, for being awesome. Yeah, let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks, everybody. We're going to sign out. Hope you had fun. And if you didn't, just send a complaint to Penguin Butt. She'll handle all complaints. All right. Oh, wait. I got to find the right button. I am professional.
Hey,
I found it. Okay, and we're on.